All right, I'm clicking
We must
going
sow discord
live
wherever possible.
because for once I was set up completely on time.
No, I.
Not only are we
Yeah,
live, it
we were
looks like
both
we have an
basically on
excellent
time today.
connection.
Sweet.
And none of our audience showed up, which is about the standard. You know, we don't have an audience, so
And it doesn't matter.
that's a good sign.
None of this matters.
The standard. You know, we don't have an audience, so
Yeah. What's happening in the world? And it doesn't matter.
That's a good sign.
None of this matters.
Yeah, it's what's going on in the world. The Dems didn't manage to pass or the Dems didn't manage to stop the amendment banning federal funding for what's that bullshit? Critical race theory in schools.
Critical race theory. Yeah.
So there no longer can be any federal funding for any critical race theory classes of any kind. It cannot use federal funding.
It's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually shocking.
And it was one Democrat vote that made the difference too. It was 50 to 49, which tells me that 49 people should be hauled out to the street and shot because they're fucking communist traitors, in my opinion. Like, because critical race theory it's just Chinese communist attempt at fucking our culture up, you know, and it's very obvious. Like we've seen the people talk about it, like the people that used to work for the Russians in their secret, you know, their secret service, whatever the Russians call that.
Yeah.
Like this is just a blatant attack from China on the U.S. culturally. But you know, it's weird because like this is nice that it passed, but at the same time, I mean, most of the shit our you know Congress is doing is fucking us over anyway. So it's not like it's like picking a peanut out of a turd and being like, "Yay, everything's fine." It's good news, but yeah, everything's kind of fucked over anyway.
The fact that it was that close is very disheartening.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it was one vote away from fucking.
Well, and one of the things that really gets to me is absolutely none of critical race theory has ever been proven to be like accurate. Like it's all proven false over and over, every part of it. There's zero science, zero psychology, nothing backs critical race theory up in reality. It's all just woven lies of racism and hate.
But they feel that it's true. That's all that really matters now.
Yeah, that's the part that really fucks. And that's probably the most infuriating aspect of any of that bullshit. It doesn't matter what you think; it's how you feel. No, it doesn't fucking matter how you feel when you're talking about reality and facts and science. Like your feelings should never enter the equation. Like there's an inescapable amount. Like you're gonna feel something about everything. Like that's just how it is. But God damn.
That is human nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so fucking, and again, it's something that's, obviously claims to be like not racist, but it's incredibly racist.
It's based in racism. I mean, it's critical race theory. Yeah. How could you possibly have a race theory and not end up being racist at the end of it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, all that shit's just it's such fucking nonsense.
Well, and now they're trying, to rewrite history too.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Like, no, that's not how it happened. It happened like this.
No, it wasn't only rich people that owned slaves. Everybody had slaves. We swear.
Yeah. Although I was just reading something about how the Native Americans in the South had all kinds of black slaves.
Probably.
You know that? Tribes in fucking Southern America had all kinds of fucking slaves.
Yeah, every culture, every group of people on the planet has at some point been enslaved and has at some point enslaved others. Turns out it's not really an
yeah.
American thing. It's a human thing, and
and it's fucking horrible, and it's been basically done away with. Well, at least here.
Well,
but
well, America was the first country that went to war, went to the point of civil war in order to free the slaves. I don't think anybody had ever freed slaves before that, not en masse.
Yeah,
there were certain systems of slavery where the slaves could earn their way to freedom in that system, but I don't think there was ever an en masse freeing of slaves in any other country. What's up, Mr. Samaj?
Not that I know of.
You talking about your history and your feelings involving slavery? You realize all the slaves came to Kent. No, I'm joking.
No, I'm not talking about how they kind of like are trying to rewrite history and like, no, everybody owned slaves. It wasn't just like rich people and plantations. It's like, no, It's the upper class and the fucking plantations. That's who owned slaves. The average middle class, lower class family had nothing like that at all. They couldn't afford it.
Mm.
It would be the equivalent in current money of spending like $90,000, I think. It was either $45,000 or $90,000, and like, why would you do that when you could buy so much more with that amount of money that would be so much more like useful to you as a middle or lower class family?
Mm.
Yeah. Slave owning was very much a long-term investment. You know what I mean?
Well, not only did you have to buy, but you had to like feed and care for. So.
Yeah, the only way that works is if you're going to get little fucking, you're going to get the offspring. You're going to get more slaves out of that by letting them fuck,
Or they're doing the work for you on a farm or something, and you can, benefit from selling the products of their labor.
And a lot of the slave owners, they did engage in selective breeding when it came to the black people. That's part of the reason why so many American blacks are so tall and have such large dicks. It's because of the selective breeding going on. It's because of white men that they're so big and have such large dicks.
That's why the NBA is so great.
Yep.
That's why the NBA kicks ass, dude.
Yep.
and football for the most part.
And I don't think like the average people in black people in actual Africa are really that much taller. I don't know the numbers, but I would imagine that they freely went around and did their thing. But yeah, if there was a type of selective breeding, there'd be
other than Dikembe Mutombo's tribe, a bunch of tall motherfuckers.
Yeah, there are a couple of tribes out there that are just like ridiculously large. Or not large, but just absurdly tall for some reason. Like they're like, yeah. Well, the other thing they try to erase from history is that the vast majority of slaves were captured by black people and sold to white people by other black people in Africa. Like they try to sort of like downplay or brush that off as if it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
Well, the rewriting of history has been going on for like quite a long time. I mean, we're only talking about the slave one because it's the most recent one that they're trying to do, and I mean there was other forms of like rewriting history. Like the feminist one is the one I distinctly remember because they were saying, well, feminists are the ones who got women to vote. Well, no, they weren't. It was there was the two different movements going on. There was the suffragettes and the suffragists. And the reason why they sound so similar but they're different is because there was a separate movement. Like, okay, there was one movement in the government trying to actually go for and make like an actual political change. They're the ones who actually got the job done. But the only thing that people know are the protesters. And part of the reason for that is because the protesters were the ones who were making the news, going around, people taking pictures, and they're the ones going out causing a disturbance. And that's why we remember them, because we have so much like photos and news articles about, because they were the loudest and the most annoying. But they didn't actually achieve anything. That was like the other group. So there's that. And like feminism
makes sense that they would try to like erase that too, yeah.
Well, and feminists are taking credit for that, but feminism didn't exist then. It wasn't a thing. The feminist movement is a completely separate movement from the suffrage movement. very, very different.
Yeah,
Not
completely
to
different.
Well, not to mention they completely sweep under the rug the fact that at that time there was also like the black movement going on for like freedom and the ability to get the vote, and you could hear like radio interviews with the suffragettes, like the ones who were going out and protesting. You hear interviews with them talking about how it would be a travesty if the Negro got the vote before the woman. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's sad. You hear that stuff and like, and I'm being nice. I'm leaving stuff out. They said awful things about black people.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Words
were the
that
most
we would get banned for using, no doubt.
exactly. Even though I don't know, I should probably look it up. But when I first heard those interviews, it was on YouTube. I don't know if they're still up there. They may have been taken down and scrubbed off the internet. But I remember those interviews. And that's another bit of history that was swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Women to vote.
It's almost impossible now to find any information on the research of mRNA vaccines prior to like the 90s. Because this has been stuff that they've been trying to work on for like since the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can't find any of the old experiments or papers on any of the old stuff that's out there. It's just been scrubbed.
I'm sure there's some place you can find it.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Like it nothing ever truly disappears on the internet, but it's so hard to find now that it's not even.
Well, and like you can't even rely on something like a Google search because that would never yield any information. For that kind of stuff, you almost need like you need to be someone that's actually in the medical facility and can probably find some archived information on that.
Somebody was trying to claim that there were 3 successful vaccines using this technology prior, and they're not. The studies that were done on them were less than 200 people, which is not nearly a large enough sample size to really test any sort of safety. And they're not in general use. They're not something you can go down and get at your your doctor's office. It's the CDC kept them because they're like, well, if this particular disease ever becomes a pandemic level, this vaccine would be better than just letting the disease run its course, even though we don't know the safety of this vaccine entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the closest they ever got with stuff that was not legal to use in the United States. It's like just kept in the case of like, oh God, the world is going to end if we don't do this. And even if it kills a lot of people, it'll still probably kill less than the fucking disease. Oh God. And then the same guy told me that if a disease is more infectious, then, or no, if it's more deadly, then it's automatically less infectious. And this is a guy that's taking microbiology, like medical microbiology stuff, like studying this kind of stuff in colleges. It has for 2 years. And I'm like, no, if a virus is more infectious, that does not mean, or if a virus is more deadly, does not mean it's less infectious. That's the most fucking stupid thing I've ever heard. If a virus is more easily detected because the symptoms are clearer and less vague, which a lot of very infectious diseases in recent history have been, then it's easier to quarantine them because it's much, much easier and much, much faster to figure out who has it. And
maybe that's what he was getting at, because like the severity of the reaction is probably greater. I mean, and that could be, and maybe he wasn't speaking like with the full context.
Yeah, but it doesn't make them less infectious. It just means we're better at detecting things that are more obvious. Yeah, because we haven't had anything that's undetectable until it's, but it's also really deadly at the same time, because that's just not very common, luckily, so far.
It's because of the smallpox stuff I sent you earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I was arguing with this guy on the random Discord and being like, it's just like, we don't know that these vaccines are safe. We don't know any of that. The information we have right now on COVID is it's not nearly as deadly as a lot of other flus and other things that have gone around. it's
yeah.
and if you believe in the vaccine, then you shouldn't have any fear of anybody who hasn't been vaccinated because you're supposedly safe.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to, yeah.
I've been watching a lot of these videos.
I've got a real.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say I've got a real dilemma with this now because my son wants to get the vaccine.
Don't.
Yeah.
Like,
here's the dilemma, dude. Is he's 17. He's only like 10 months away from being an adult.
Yeah, so if you make him wait, he's just going to get it anyway. And there's no guarantee his mom wouldn't just take him and get it done. And I'm sure a doctor would do it under his mom's supervision anyway.
So long as it's like you avoid the topic and you don't bring it up, he'll forget about it. Because there's if you're 17, there's more important things. Yeah.
The issue is or what he says is he's really worried about his younger brother who has what's called Angelman syndrome. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically like he'll never talk. He'll never fucking be able to walk. I guess the Angelman thing is because they're like ridiculously happy all the time, which must be kind of nice. But anyways, he gets sick really easily. Like if there's any sickness that comes around him, he catches it. And so he's really worried about, potentially causing harm to his little.
Well,
brother.
I mean, like that's the thing with these vaccines is I don't think you should get them unless you're in one of the extreme risk groups. If he, is in an extreme risk group, that's a different story. Like if I was over 80, I would get the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because there may be some potential issues, but.
My son isn't in those groups. My son's completely healthy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I understand where he's coming from. He's saying, there's this extreme risk group I want to protect. I can kind of get it. I don't know, man. It's such a tough situation because in 10 months, it's not even going to matter what you think.
Well, and from what I've heard is that the vaccine isn't going to save you from anything. You're still going to, if you get it, you can get it. You're not protected. It may lower some of the symptoms, but you're still going to get it and transmit it. So the vaccine is essentially useless.
Well, that's the thing about the mRNAs. You're supposed to get it. It's not that they're not supposed to stop you from getting the disease, whatever they're protecting you from. If it's working correctly, you'll get it, but it'll be a much milder version, and the symptoms will be much milder, and it won't last as long. So that's the goal of the mRNA vaccine. That's what they're aiming for with that, because it's not the same as previous vaccines, which were supposed to stop you from actually getting the infection in the first place. So potentially, and some of the numbers out of Miami, or not Miami, out of Florida sound promising. It may potentially be that the vaccine works. It's just extremely unlikely.
Yeah.
And I would wait until after this. I would wait till after the cold and flu season this next year and see what happens, because that's really going to be when it's put to the test. Because right now, for the most part, most of the COVID viruses are pretty dormant in this summer.
Yeah.
Well,
just remember to take your vitamin D, provided that you don't live in a sunny area. I live in Canada, so I should take it.
I mean, if you take a multivitamin, you probably get enough.
So I learned something about the multivitamin that was a bit of a shock. So I remember I was looking up on how low we are in vitamin C, because we don't get very much. Most people are just very, very deficient, and
really?
and all the it's just because most people don't eat things with vitamin C in them. And a lot
gives you a lot of vitamin C. I mean,
but most
so
people don't
easy
eat
to
broccoli.
get.
It is. It's very easy to get. But the diets of a lot of people don't involve vegetables. People are very prone to eating fast food and stuff. It's a very common thing to have.
Vegetables?
No, it's people eat vegetables, but they don't eat it every day. A lot of them are
I'm
sloth.
They
fucking.
probably don't put a lot of thought into vitamin D or vitamin
No.
C or vitamin D or that
Exactly.
kind of shit.
Well, because we
I'm
don't think
genuinely blown away. I've always like had vegetables with dinner. Like you gotta have some vegetables with dinner, or like some sort of like salad, fruit salad.
Well, you see, okay, I know why it is people don't get a lot. Because remember, a lot of people grew up in single parent households, and the thing is with single parent
Oh
households,
yeah.
because you have single parent households when your mom comes home, who's like your only parent, she has no energy to cook anything, so she'll make quick stuff like pasta or snacks. Anything that's quick. I grew up in a single parent home, and my mom hated cooking, and
Really?
so
Oh wow.
I didn't grow up with a lot of vegetables in my life, which explains why my metabolism is such shit and why I gain weight fairly easily. So that's why I'm working so hard to correct my behavior. But because of that deficiency, like my thing is not that uncommon. It's very common with a lot of people, because single parent homes are like the majority of most homes these days. So a lot of people are not eating right, and even the moms who go out and work, they're not eating correctly either. So most people
Oh
are very
wow.
deficient. Yeah, the whole apple a day keeps the doctor away is a great line, and it actually works. But most households don't do
Yeah,
that.
it's like I always have. Even though I eat cereal for the most part in the morning, I always put like some raisins on it or some fruit. Like.
Yeah, I mean,
And
most
then
people,
you gotta have like maybe a little fruit cup or like just a piece of fruit or a bowl of like little grapes or something with your lunch.
that would be a smart idea if only more people did that. I mean,
And then
most.
yeah, I can't imagine having meals that don't have some sort of like fruit or vegetable.
Well, like I said, I grew up single parent home, and pasta
Mm.
was the number one thing we'd have. Like we'd have craft dinner for supper majority of the time. Maybe one of those quick hamburgers or whatever. But like
Oh, like
vegetables were
hamburger
very
helper.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a quick thing, that's what we would eat.
Yeah, hamburger
So
helper. There was hamburger helper, rice aroni. There was tuna helpers and stuff. At least in the 80s and 90s. I'm not sure how old you are. You're much younger than I am.
I don't know by much younger, but I mean,
Well, I'm
yeah,
41. I mean,
I'm somewhere in the late 30s. I don't remember.
you don't
I stopped
remember.
I stopped paying attention a
Oh,
long
okay.
time ago.
See, then
I mean,
then you would recognize a lot of this stuff.
some of it, the tuna. Well, you also have to remember, I grew up on farms, so like we
The
had
craft
like
dinners were probably the same as the tuna helper, the hamburger helper that we would have had in the U.S. I mean, it's basically like you brown some ground beef, mix in the fucking pasta, the powder, and the water, and then just stir it until it it's cooked in like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, we grew up with the hamburger helper stuff. Yes, and like I know what you're talking about. Like that was my upbringing,
Yeah.
which it was not the greatest.
It's like the shittiest casserole in a pot you can make.
Indeed, and like most breakfasts was just a bowl of cereal and something high in sugar.
Bowl of cereal, I think, is kind of like the standard across the country, poor or rich. Like, yeah, I think it was probably really strange. But for a long time, because I'll go through phases. Like for a long time, I ate oatmeal, and then for a long time, I had yogurt and fruit. Like I'd slice up some strawberries and grapes, and just have a little yogurt cup, and then a small bowl of the fruit. But I think genuinely cereal is probably 90% of people because it's so quick and easy. You pour it in a bowl, you pour milk, you're done.
Exactly, and that's what they'd have. And like I go to school and I have to make my own lunches, and because I was just a stupid kid, the only thing I would have is like bologna in between two pieces of bread, and I have a bologna sandwich. That's my lunch. That's I'd always have to make because my mom had to get up and go to work.
Did you at least get like butter or mayonnaise or something?
Not mayonnaise. I butter if I felt like it, but I didn't care for the butter. I didn't care for the flavor.
Yeah, butter's not a good mix with lunch. But I know a lot of poor kids had butter and bologna was a big thing for.
Dude, you know what actually is? Oh shit! Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I switched over my phone.
Yeah, we were listening. That's why we're.
What the fuck?
We hear you.
Can you
Okay,
hear
all
us?
right. I wasn't sure if you could, dude.
Yeah, we hear you. Go for it.
I can now.
Okay.
Oh, but I wasn't getting any confirmation that you could hear me. All right. Well, anyways, but ham with butter is actually really good, or like a margarine or something.
I've never
My
tried that.
grandmother used to always make that shit for me.
I cannot stand that.
Yeah,
It grosses me out.
my grandmother always made like that. Yeah, I probably would too if I hadn't had it kind of forced on me. But it's actually pretty good.
Mixing butter with ham sounds like a keto thing. Like, I mean, I know it's you're talking about in a sandwich. I'm just saying. Spreading ham with butter
No, it was from
it
when I
sounds
was
like a
very
keto
young.
thing. I could see somebody doing that, like just cracking an egg and swallowing it, and then chewing up some ham with butter smeared on it.
Gross.
Well, not honestly. Well, obviously, it wouldn't be keto if it was a sandwich, but yeah, I'm talking about a sandwich. I don't know if I mentioned that.
They make keto bread now.
A ham sandwich with butter on the bread.
There's keto bread out there. You can make a bread
right.
that's keto.
Bread-like substance.
Yeah, it's something that resembles bread very strongly. I never try. I never fucked with that. It just didn't seem worth it to me. It was the same as there was my brother bought keto pasta that I just refused to even consider. It's because like the instructions were product will smell very strongly when originally opened. To render the product odor free, you'll have to like rinse it for like a minute under running water, and then you soak it for 10 minutes, and then you rinse it again for like another 5 minutes or something. It was like some insane amount of like time just rinsing these noodles so that they wouldn't smell horrible. And I was like, you know what? I just don't need pasta. I don't need it that much. I can go without some macaroni for a while. It's not going to be that bad.
Damn.
And they were crystal clear, and they looked like
that does sound like way more work.
Like they were made out of the same stuff that you get gummy worms out of.
Ugh.
That's so appetizing.
And they, you know, how noodles come in, they're like dry in a bag, or even like fresh noodles, they're in like a little sealed container, and they're just slightly damp. These were shipped in little pouches of water.
Oh, wow.
So you'd get like this little pouch of noodles that was all with water and all squishy. And I think he tried it once and just was like, nah, I can't get over that smell. It's like, nah.
Like, that's just fucking nasty.
Yeah.
Well, it's now like, my mom and sister are doing that.
Oh, they're doing that. Yeah, it's like you try the sugar-free candies, the really commercial ones. The sweetener they use, if you eat like 2 instead of just 1 piece of candy, you'll end up with the shits for like an hour. Most people that do keto try that candy like once, and then after that they're like, nah, dude, it's not. I don't care.
Yeah, what the fuck is the point of eating just 1 candy?
And it's sugar-free candy, so like diabetics. And you know those like little Reese's peanut butter cups where they're like the small foil-wrapped round ones? That's about the size of a piece of candy that you can have from the sugar-free diabetic candies that are commercial. You can find other like keto candies from other companies that are not going to do that to you. You just like the commercial ones are not a good choice.
Sounds like it. I wouldn't do that. Before I get too carried away with that, I did want to mention what I learned about vitamins.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you never got to that part. My bad. we got all hopped up in sandwiches.
All right. I had to get my ham sandwich thing in. Well, my apologies.
I was explaining about. Well, no, we got derailed because I was explaining about the whole like how I grew up and all that. But one of the things I learned with apparently like when people have clogged arteries, a lot of times the assumption is because of fatty foods. Well, it turns out it's actually not that. It's because of lack of vitamin C. It creates a plaque buildup, and you need vitamin C to help clear out your arteries. So
Huh.
when you go to the doctors for like heart attacks and whatnot, they pump you full of vitamin C.
So my penchant for having like a orange juice, like usually like a glass of orange juice every day, is really good.
Yep. Well, because vitamin C, like a lot of vitamins our body naturally makes, it just needs substances to make it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like we have vitamin D in our system, but it only gets produced if we get exposure to sunlight. And if you live in my neck of the woods here in Canada, you only get sun 2 months out of the year, so you have to have the vitamins. But most people don't take them because you don't think you need them. But you do because you live in Canada.
I always take multivitamins. I just figure like even though I eat like vegetables and fruit, you can just never be sure you're getting the right mix of everything. It's just too many to keep track of.
Right, and I was also like I was looking up like different parts of your life. If you're having this and that, it can cause long-term problems. And I thought about my upbringing and with all the shit I ate in my youth, and I thought to myself, well, okay, I'm going to be in serious trouble. I should get on top of all that. So of course I got into the multivitamin, but I thought, no, maybe I should go a little bit further. And so I started taking vitamin C. Just like because it says recommended
like an extra little thing, yeah.
Yeah, like an extra little thing. Like
vitamin C is one of the vitamins you can have as much as you could possibly want. You can't really overdose on it.
Well, overdose, sure, but I'm about to say the other side effects. So the problem with vitamin C. So they say that you only need, like an adult male, you only need 100 milligrams of vitamin C. That's all that your body needs. So I just thought, I'll just take one extra pill because the container here for vitamin C says I can take 4 a day. I don't need to take 4. I'll just take 1. Well, It turns out that was one too many. And for an entire month, I was thinking to myself, I need to go to the doctor because for like every single day, no matter what I ate, no matter what I did, I constantly have the runs. Every time.
Too much vitamin C.
It was, and so like I thought to myself, okay, well, I wonder if it's the vitamins. So I stopped taking the vitamins and I started doing the research, and sure as shit, yeah, it was the vitamin C. The human body,
there you go.
The male body only needs 100 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and
it can probably tolerate something like 600 or 700, but after that, you're in dangerous territory.
Okay, so the multivitamin, you can take 2 of those a day, and the 2 combined only gives you 50 milligrams. And the thing is with the multivitamin, it gives you only half of what you need, and then you have to fill up the rest with your daily foods. Okay, so every day I was taking the vitamin C, but then I'd have my porridge in the morning, and I'd have it with half an apple. Well, sure as shit, I went over my stuff because apparently for one of these little tablets, it's 500 milligrams of vitamin C. So I'm taking 1. I'm already 600 above what my normal dosage should be. So, and because of all that, what the body will do is it will expel all that out of you. So that's when you have the runs. That's why I was having the runs every single day for every meal. Nothing was solid, and then I stopped taking it, and everything's back to normal. So I learned something new. So now I have this whole thing of vitamin C I can't have. But yeah, no,
what I find interesting is, Maj, you're the only person besides Goldilocks that I've ever heard eating porridge, dude.
I mean, yeah.
I might be alone on that. I don't know.
I mean, I
call it oatmeal.
Yeah, I can call it oatmeal if you like.
Wait, I think they call it porridge in Canada.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's the same thing. Okay. My apologies. I honestly did not know what porridge actually was.
Yeah, it's another word for oatmeal, I think.
Yeah, well, porridge is the generic term for all of the grains when you cook them in the same fashion as oatmeal.
Well, I always
have an oat porridge, you can have pea porridge, you can have wheat porridge, but essentially at this point it's oatmeal.
I always thought because I grew up on a farm, and so we always had horses, and we fed them the oats, and so I don't want oats because that's what the horses eat. But I mean, so it was called oatmeal, and I just thought, well, I'm not that, so I just call it the porridge.
Yeah. Just to clarify, I did look it up, and in fact, I am right. It's a soft food made by boiling oatmeal or another meal in water or milk. So, covers any kind of grain.
There you go.
You're a speciesist, dude. You think you're too good for horses?
Absolutely.
Horses. Oh, I think you've offended it.
Man,
I don't
I'm so
fucking
landed
care.
tonight.
Fuck
I'm
horses.
just an asshole.
They can fucking die. I'll run them over in my car. Yeah, there you go. That's evolution, motherfucker. Don't fucking care for horses. You can't tell I grew up
Motherfucking
on
horse. If
horses.
you'd had opposing thumbs, you wouldn't be in this. You wouldn't have these problems, motherfucker.
Exactly. Fucking
Teach you
grow
not
some
to
brain
evolve.
cells. Grow some brain cells. You fucking four-legger. Sorry, if you can't tell, I don't have much love for horses.
Oh man, how many of you had to draw in like really awkward, weird shit?
Not often, thank God.
Yeah, I'm sure people come up with some weird stuff.
I mean, no one's ever requested horses. I don't get much in the way of furry art or commissions, just because I don't really want to go down that path. Although I will say that those guys have money and they're more than happy to flaunt it. So if I'm looking to pay off some bills, I can just open myself up to a furry art commission.
You're like, I don't do this often, but I'll fucking for $100, I'll draw whatever weird furry shit you want. Like.
I mean,
oh man!
One of the weirdest requests I ever got was someone wanted me to make like an airplane, but it had like the Ahiagao face, and it was making all those like not sexy, but like sexual, suggestive, moaning faces and all that as people are boarding her. It's like, but I don't know. I don't want to get into that. I'm like, fuck. And I just never replied to that guy. I know he'll pay me whatever I ask. But...
You know what? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people never replied to that guy. Like, I don't think you're the only one. There were probably a lot of people who were like, not today.
I know that some people do, but my God, it's crazy. It's funny what you'll do for
hilarious. Money. I want you to draw an airplane making an Ahagao face as people board the plane.
And she would say something very suggestive about, being filled up. It's yeah.
Oh. Oh no, that's hilarious. I'm being honest, I kind of want to see that now. That sounds so fucking disturbing.
Yeah. I'm imagining the people being actually anthropomorphized like cock and balls, like it's just penis people entering the plane.
That does work.
Well, they'd probably all be dressed up in white, being very suggestive of. Well, I don't know. I don't know. The internet is an interesting place, filled with interesting people, and that's just me being nice.
Let's work this out, dude. Let's work out exactly what it is.
No, let's move the fuck on. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, probably a better idea.
Well, what was it? I put up a scene where in Tennessee, like a whole big group of parents started like basically like harassing and almost assaulting the school board when they voted to implement masks at school. They were like, we're not gonna fucking put up with this. You're fucking monsters. You need to you do what we say. We don't serve you. Like that kind of shit. It was like, that was kind of nice to see.
Parents are losing their shit, and it's not just the mask thing, but also critical race theory. I am loving all these parents.
It's like almost every day there's more and more, like especially black parents who are getting up and talking and being like, this is not what I want my fucking children to learn. This is just hate and racism, and I won't fucking tolerate it kind of stuff, which is really nice. I mean, it's good. Any parent being against it is good, but it's really hard for them to shut down black parents when they say that.
Indeed.
Because it violates their own ideals.
You can't claim they're racist.
I think it was like Ben Shapiro. He was given a speech, and there was questions being brought up, and they asked that, and his suggestion was just pull the kids out and take them to private school, and if not, do the homeschooling.
It's the best choice. It really is. The
I
more
mean,
you pull
like,
your kids out, the less tax money the schools get, and the less the less kids are being indoctrinated. You know.
and that very well might happen. Who knows?
I genuinely believe that is one of the big reasons why a lot of Republicans are pushing for school choices. Because then parents can, when they figure out that they're teaching critical race theory, they can take their kids and send them to another school instead.
Yeah, that sounds like the way to go.
Yeah. So that's kind of nice. Oh, and then I found out the craziest bullshit about family channels on YouTube. They're not subject to any of the laws that normal, like Hollywood movies and shows that have kids in their cast are. So if a child is in a movie or in a TV show, I think it's like 60, 70, or 80%. Like some amount of the money has to go into a savings account from like the start. And it stays there, and it's nobody can touch it until the child's 18, and then it's the child's. So like they take a certain amount of the money just before anything else, and that goes straight to the savings fund for the kid to get when they're 18. And then the parents are only take a certain percentage as a agent's fee kind of thing, and then like the other stuff has to be carefully managed. Plus there's you can only the child can only be on set for a certain number of hours before they have to be able to like go play and then go sleep. All of that is strictly regimented to prevent like kids from being like abused essentially by like movies and TVs, because they get a lot of pressure on them to finish in a certain number of days. None of that's going on in YouTube family channels at all in any way, shape, or form. Like she was even showing like talking about one channel where like this lady and this guy adopted a child, used that kid to make YouTube videos for like a year and a half, and then gave him back.
God damn.
Right? And he's never going to see a penny of that, like, year and a half's worth of money that they made. That, I mean, honestly, like, if he were to get, like, half of whatever they made off of him, because it was a big channel, probably would have put him through college. Like, it would have been set aside in, like, a savings fund, even though he has all this trauma, I'm sure, from being given back by multiple different families at this point. Like, at least he'd be able to go to college and, like, have a little bit of money at the end. But nah, dude. It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. That's terrible. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. Fucking humanity is disgusting sometimes.
And then there's like the parents that they film their kids eating popsicles and just like weird, creepy fucking pedo shit that goes out there too that really doesn't get banned or dealt with in any way. And these are the most advertiser-friendly channels on YouTube because they're families. So they get all the big fucking money on advertising.
I can see why people would make like kids shows on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it got better a little bit after the whole Daddy of Five, Mommy of Five shit, but after a while it just reverted back to the fucked up, not paying attention anymore because we were bitching about it.
There was like a little bit of a time when everybody was really up in arms, and then like as soon as that faded, YouTube was just like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, the advertisers don't care as long as it's family.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing is pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I had no idea because I don't watch any of those channels. I didn't even know that was a big thing, that there were a lot of those out there. I was just like, oh, really? All right.
Well, and a lot of those like animated things that go out there, they're all like done in India. They're usually done through an algorithm or something. So no one's even paying attention to what goes on there. They're just like what's popular trends. And I think one of the ones, because Tim Pool brought it up a few times, there was one where it had Hitler and he was dancing with the Hulk while some popular kids song was playing.
Okay.
So it flies under the radar.
No.
And the only reason it gets done because it's like it's preset animations, and so it just goes over and over and over and over. But then they just sort of they use an algorithm to find out popular subjects. So like the Hulk was trending because at the time Thor Ragnarok was coming out, and so that's why Hulk was there.
And Hitler gets talked about a lot because everybody's calling everybody a fucking Nazi.
Exactly. There could have been something like going on a lot at that time. So like you're worse than Hitler. So that could have been what was going on. So that's how that fiasco got through. And not to mention YouTube Kids stuff. It's just fucking weird. Like we all know
the Elsa Spider-Man stuff. I think everybody knows that. Yeah, I know you were about to go there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, Elsa Spider-Man.
Yeah, with the weird everywhere. Sex, pregnancy, disease, butt sex stuff. Like, yeah, it's really fucking inappropriate for kids.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of fucked up things on the YouTube. Like, and let's not forget about the whole like breastfeeding stuff. It's listed as educational.
Naked yoga, breastfeeding.
Yep. All educational, and so it's all on YouTube.
I think they're gone now, but I think for a while there was a lot of creepy shit with like little girls dancing and doing gymnastics type stuff. Like they would have like channels where it was all like the girls gymnasts and stuff, and they would all be doing stuff that was filmed very suggestively. But I think that all finally got banned. And then I don't know about the girls dance stuff. I know there was a lot of stuff that was fucked up on YouTube, but that's just because that, you know, children's dance contests are fucked up. Like they get little like 10-year-olds twerking and shit on stage, and they're like, "Oh, they're just copying the older kids." Fucking what? So, like, so I don't know about that, but I think the gymnast stuff got taken out. I'm not sure if you can still find it, but there used to be a lot of Russian 12-year-old pole dancing videos.
Gross.
Because Russians apparently, as just a thing, teach a lot of like fucking 12-year-olds how to pole dance, like it's a sport.
Right. Before we get too carried away, I was looking up the naked yoga, and yeah, it's still here.
Oh yeah, the naked yoga is still there. I've seen that. Yeah, that shit was fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's literally like close-ups of a woman's vagina, and it's like, that's not... See, they're not even showing the rest of her body. How could you be learning anything about yoga from there?
See, the first ever naked yoga I ever saw was from someone I used to follow from like G4 Tech TV. That's Sarah Underwood. I don't know if you remember her, but or ever watched. Yeah, she worked for G4, but she also worked for Playboy. And so she did a lot of like nude modelings and photo shoots and all that. And so for the Playboy channel, she did a series of naked yoga. And, you know, it's just her doing yoga and being very educational. But yeah, you'll learn something if you're paying attention to what she says. But yeah, you saw everything. And I know people were uploading her content. So, yeah.
I mean, if it makes money, I'm sure, yeah, people were definitely uploading it.
Yeah, probably. Now it's funny. Okay, so I type in naked yoga, but all this other stuff's coming through. Like for some reason, woman walking around with a see-through swimsuit. Like, okay, but it said yoga. I mean, I'm not going to click on it.
The algorithm knows that you just want naked women.
Exactly. Like, look, it's not that I'm not going to click on it, but I mean, this isn't what I asked for.
I just want you to know. It's not what I asked for, and I'm highly offended, but I'm going to watch it anyway.
Exactly. I didn't say stop.
I didn't say stop showing the film. I just said I find it offensive.
Exactly. Give me what I asked for. Don't stop.
I find it offensive that you recommended it to me, but I am going to watch it.
Oh, so what was it? I was trying to find out if bugs could feel their shells. Cause weed. I already knew this. Like if you touch a turtle's shell, like the turtle can feel it. It's sort of like when you touch your own thumbnail or fingernail. It's like a a duller sensation, but they can feel through their shell. But the guy that was doing that brought out the shell of a turtle that he had owned that had been killed by another turtle, and then set it up next to the turtle that killed it to talk about the whole thing. And so it was just a little kind of weird. Like, he was like, yeah, this guy right here, he and the other guy, they were having a dominance fight, and I didn't know about it to break it up in time, and he pulled the other guy's skin off of his shell, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And you've pulled out the dead corpse of his fucking victim and set it next to him on the grass. This is weird. Oh, man. Oh, I also didn't know that if you didn't allow turtles to run around in the wild, that they could get little points on the top of their shell. Like the scales will turn sort of like pyramidal and like
up in the wild,
come up to points, somehow. But in the wild it buffs off. Like, well, I mean, just running around in your yard buffs off the points of the shells where they would build up if they're just like, I think if you just keep them in like an aquarium inside, they can get like pyramiding is what the guy called it, right. And like their little shells, the little individual shell parts just come up to like little points. They turn into little pyramids.
That's crazy. Yeah, because we had my son when he was younger, fucking loved turtles. So we actually built like a enclosure like with a pool and everything. Yeah, the pool that was probably about 2.5 to 3 feet deep. Like it was a pretty big pool. Like we got the prefab one from like Home Depot. Nice. Dug the hole and embedded it. Yeah, and gave them a decent amount of room to roam around with outside. Although they very rarely got more than like a fucking 2 inches from the side of the pool. But they at least had room to fucking roam around and shit. So yeah, I never noticed them having
in like a little fucking tank essentially. Like yeah.
Right.
So the way you kept them, that would keep the pyramiding from being a problem. But if you'd kept them in like, a 20-gallon tank indoors with like a rock and a fucking puddle, then they would have gotten little pyramiding little points developing on their shells.
Would have been an issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And besides, a lot of turtles love scrub brushes.
Oh, really? Like getting scrubbed by them?
Have you never seen it? So, like, those little things you use to get the mud off your feet? If you build one of those, but upside down for the turtle, they'll fucking scrub that. They'll go over and just every once in a while just scrub real good. And they just look so fucking happy.
Oh, wow.
You watch videos on YouTube of it. It's adorable.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. Because, like I said, my son would surely find that fucking adorable.
Oh yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah,
and that's part of the whole they can feel through their shells. That's how I knew that before I watched the video, but then I wanted to find out if bugs could feel their shells.
So I'm just putting this little screenshot here I took of so I'm looking up the naked yoga thing, but the one thing I had to pause immediately because for some reason I looked in the upper corner, and that's Gary from Nerdrotic, and it feels like he's looking and judging me. And it sort of scared me. I was like, wait a minute. Is he in this call? Wait, what? Took a moment for me to realize, oh, wait, that's just the thumbnail. Holy shit. I'm not high. I'm not high. I was just caught it. Oh, yeah. That video,
that bathing suit. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yoga and naked nude yoga, educational and lingerie. Sexy 2021. Oh,
yeah,
that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's one of those barely there bikinis.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing. It's like, like you could wear that to the beach, but I mean, the proper breeze or splash the wave. I mean, that something's getting exposed.
Yeah. Jesus.
I know.
Man, I don't know about this. It's funny. We need to just fucking end everything.
I mean,
I saw somebody suggesting porn for children.
Oh,
they should make porn for children, and it's not child pornography. They just were saying, like, maybe we need, like, less extreme pornography for, like, younger kids to find, so that they're not starting off with, like, the guy just choking the girl without even so much as, like, asking her about that first and, like, spitting in her eye and shit. You know, like, like, and I was like, God damn it. That's really fucked up, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Like give them some porn that's a little more like real sex, so they're less fucking poorly educated.
Fucking Miley Cyrus was on the Joe Rogan show, and she had suggested that we should make a book about drugs for kids, and like making sure they can know. Yeah, I heard this, and she's got a straight face. That's when I realized, yeah, this is how fucked you've gotten living in this world. That and her fucking voice, dude. She sounds like a fucking smoker. Like she's been smoking her whole life. Her voice is deep and scratchy. Like that's because she had an allergic reaction of some sort. I think, and she just never recovered. Her voice is just permanently that way now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
oh,
but
that is too bad.
Yeah, I mean, she's still out there, but yeah, now that she's not the hot thing anymore. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things somebody was talking about. Somebody on Twitch and like, oh, I wonder, you know, how long her career is going to last. It's like until she's not hot. Like that's the standard. It's usually like in their 30s that like careers that are based on just being attractive are over for most women. Like that's just a general rule. Not the rule though.
Yeah,
like,
but that's just the way it is for all women. I mean, they have to get their life in order before they hit their 30s, because when they start aging and looking, you know, less young and youthful, then you know, things start going downhill. That's why you have to get all your major life stuff in order. So like get a career. This is part of the reason why like a lot of careers that women go into are not like big doctorates, like 10-year commitments or whatever. They don't do that.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why women are like, I believe them to be hypersexual, because pretty much every woman is thinking about sex all the time, and that's because I gotta get a man, I gotta get a baby, and then that'll be my path to salvation or whatever.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, they ain't gonna get anything else. I mean, okay, yeah, a woman could be a doctor, I suppose. A woman could be a cop. Yeah, it's all possible.
Are we gonna have to hang a "No Girls Allowed" on our clubhouse sign?
No. I mean... Well, first of all, what girls ever show up?
All right, that's a fair point. Yeah.
All right.
They know they're not welcome.
I'm sure. Well, it's not that they're not welcome, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not.
Yeah, if they show up, you and Satan will definitely make sure that they're aware of their place. Damn it.
I mean, I'm never gonna put it that way, but I mean, yeah.
Dude, okay, so I clicked through, like, I did a search for naked yoga because I was curious if I would get the same results as you did, and they're drastically different. But like, I think the first several videos, like half the first videos, there's not actually any yoga involved.
That was my experience as well.
Like, but they're called naked yoga, and like here's like I think the most terrible one, where it's just like that's not even like you're not even trying to look at like you're doing yoga. You're just rubbing your ass and like.
Well, I think that's
the point. Underwear.
they're using they're using the algorithm. They know naked yoga is a thing. Everyone knows that. So you're just doing clickbait. That's what it is. It's like when it was an underground thing, when people knew about it, but it wasn't really mainstream, and then people in the mainstream started talking about it. Well, then
it's sort of like how ASMR got fucked by the thoughts.
Exactly. The grifters came
Like,
in.
oh, ASMR is a little loud, so I can do all this weird sex shit with ASMR as the title and make a bunch of money before it's banned.
Yep, exactly. It's probably already. I'm going to go look it up for myself. It's probably also in the breastfeeding stuff as well. Although that's a kind of weird.
I don't buy that. I think that's nonsense. The argument of breastfeeding, like, you don't have to be on a stream. That's not a requirement for your life. And you do generally know when the kid's going to want to eat. It's pretty regular. It's not like on a fucking alarm clock or anything. But you're going to know within like an hour or so of when the kid wants to eat. And there's no reason for it to be on a stream. You know?
Well, on a stream, yeah, I suppose. But I'm just talking like YouTube in general. Like I'm searching it right now.
YouTube videos, yeah, that shouldn't be on YouTube videos either.
I mean, I understand it's educational. I get that. I mean, but still, there should still be some standards. Like,
this may come as a shock, but did you know that medical websites, like websites for hospitals and doctors' offices, have these kinds of videos that are actually educational? And then you can just go watch them. You don't have to like pay them money. They'll just just watch their fucking online videos about how to breastfeed properly and take care of yourself.
But YouTube wants the clicks. They know what they're doing. They know
this stuff. I'm just saying, it's like there's no real reason for any of it at all. It's so fucking transparent.
Yeah. Absolutely.
By the way, I saw that turtle one, dude. That really looks like a drive-through turtle car wash, dude.
Yeah, it does. And the turtle does its little like twisting thing a couple of times in there, like it's like moving around and then does its little like shell twist thing. It's so cute.
It's fucking adorable is what it is. I think one of the ones that's even better is when they get the little turtle and the toothbrush, and then the little turtle just really wiggles its ass up towards the toothbrush, like it fucking wants that scrubbing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh god, dude. Well, I took my son to when he was really little, probably like 6 or 7, maybe. We went up to it wasn't the Phoenix Zoo, but there's this wild animal park way up in the Northwest Valley, and these 2 giant tortoises were fucking. And I was fucking laughing my ass off because it's fucking great, dude. Because the fucking male turtle is just behind him, just going, rah, rah, like making this fucking noise like every fucking so often, dude.
Oh no!
Like my son was like, dude, it's just nature. Like, what's the problem? I'm like, dude, trust me, man. That's fucking hilarious. Like my 7-year-old son was being more mature about it than I was. Which isn't that surprising.
Oh, I'll forever be 12, dude. That kind of shit will never not make me laugh. That's never gonna stop being funny to me. Well, apparently in Russia they do like pranks on people that involve like naked people.
Wow.
Are you sure it was Russia and not Japan?
These are definitely Russians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently they'll just pull off their clothes. What the fuck? I gotta stop watching YouTube while I'm trying to be on YouTube. That's a terrible thing. I can't play this for the audience either.
No.
It's perfectly, which is ironic if you think about it, because it's perfectly fine for somebody else to upload that kind of shit on YouTube and like have like, blatant nudity and sex and shit like that. But anybody, like, it's so weird how how do these channels get away with it and no one else does? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I guess it's a cultural thing. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Russia can do pretty much whatever it wants, dude, because they also gave us Little Big. Pretty fair trade-off.
Little Big is pretty awesome, I have to say. I can't argue with that.
Dude. Those are the fucking weirdest, like gloriously fucking strange fucking videos I've ever fucking seen.
I like the one where like the guy, if he does his dance, everybody freezes. So then, then like at some point, like the two guys are doing the dance and like fighting with it.
Mm.
That got real fucking hilarious. That was pretty wacky.
Yeah. Dude, there's a lot of fucking layers to that one, dude. Because for one thing, they're all playing at like a poker table, but they're playing with fucking Uno cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody is like either like everything is pencils or markers. Like they're smoking pencils, they're snorting pencil shavings. The fucking one dude pulls off the tip of the marker and treats it like a fucking cigar.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much fucking weirdness in that thing, dude. Yeah, that's.
Oh, you know who else does a lot of shit like that? Well, not exactly like that, but just like the same level of weirdness. Is go watch Grimes videos. Mm-hmm. That chick is real fucking out there.
Gotcha. Did you see the newest one, the mustache one that they just put out like a few days ago? I think
somebody posted it in here. I think I watched it. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, everything blends.
Another fucking. Yeah, no, it must have been me, dude. Because again, time they come out with something new, I generally will post.
No, I just don't remember if I watched it or not. Probably not then. But like it's so hard to remember sometimes.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Dude,
oh wow! I've never seen Little Big.
I've never seen it. I'm actually looking
at fucking Russian group that.
Yeah.
Watch the Hypno Dancer one, dude. I mean, you don't have to do it now, obviously, but
I am doing
my favorite. Now. I don't think it's their most popular, dude, but it's definitely my favorite.
Hypno Dancer has 218 million views. Skibbity, which is probably the biggest one that was their first one, has 544 million. So Hypno Dancer is among their more popular videos because like they have some that go down to like 4 million, 5 million views.
Even the one like Banana Man, dude, like it's just fucking.
Oh, Lollybomb, fucking that's right. That was them. I hadn't seen that in so long.
I'm not man. Like it makes no fucking sense, but it's fucking great. It's fucking great, dude. Yeah, their lyrics in general.
The Lollybomb video where it's fucking like Kim Jong-un falling in love with a fucking nuclear missile.
Oh wow, I have not seen that, dude. That sounds fucking glorious, though.
It's literally Kim Jong-un slowly like dating and falling in love with a fucking nuclear missile.
That's fucking great, dude.
Scene
glorious lunatics.
Where Kim Jong-un is at one side of a restaurant table, and then the missile's on the other, just being a missile. And Kim Jong-un is eating ice cream, and this little kid is out there like pretending to eat ice cream, and at some point just pulls up a bundle of grass and starts licking it like it's an ice cream cone while he's watching through the window as Kim Jong-un is on a date with a nuclear bomb.
What the fuck, dude?
It's fucking bizarre, dude.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. Dude, it's all fucking just, again, incredibly weird, dude, but it's also just fucking hilarious, man.
Oh man, dude, there's a lot of that
Strongly
stuff,
recommend.
Man. Yeah, the Little Big has a ton of videos that are well worth watching. And their music's not bad. Like they're not the best music I've ever heard, but God, when you put the music together with the videos, it's just a fucking whole different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically what they do is they might come up with stupid lyrics or whatever, but the music and the lyrics together are incredibly catchy, dude. You know what I mean? Even if they don't make any fucking sense. But yeah, it's good in that way. And you said the I'm Banana Man one is, again, nonsensical, dude. But it's fucking awesome.
And we play it for our not audience because I don't think there's anybody watching, but we'd get fucking banned in a heartbeat.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was one of the things I don't understand is why people who have music videos and music and stuff wouldn't want people like talking about and playing their music and other things like occasionally because like it would just make them more like well known.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
You know, like if Joe Rogan is on his podcast and he's talking with some other dude and he's like, oh, you know, I heard this crazy song the other day, it was amazing, and then he plays the song, you're probably gonna get like another 10,000 fucking sales of that song. You know, like you know, he didn't pay you whatever, like a few $100s he would have had to pay you to play the song for whatever to do it right, but the fucking you know, your money you're gonna make off of that is gonna be huge. Jeep had never seen such bullshit before.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah, I saw that and thought, okay, I like that.
Oh man.
Oh, did you watch one of them?
I didn't listen to it. I was just sort of checking the visuals while you were talking.
Oh, they're fucking out there, right?
With the hypno dance?
The hypno dancer one, or
yeah,
which
yeah,
one?
hypno dance. Hypno.
Yeah, that one you can get you get a good gist of it by just watching it.
Yeah, I love that dance.
Dude, their fucking dances are awesome too. They're like such white people dances.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, she's got a pencil shoved into a marker as a cigarette and a cigarette holder.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Like the little shavings, she actually like taps it to have the shavings fall off. And then, there's the one part where the guy is like, using the little pencil sharpener thing to cut off little shavings, and then he snorts them. There's like one stuck to his lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Gloriously so.
Oh God. Oh, I watched a small clip of something or other. I guess Steve Martin and Martin Short are working together on a new show or something. I don't know anything about that part of it, but it's really fucking weird to see somebody calling Martin Short like, "Hey, Marty, what's going on?" You know, like just casually, because you always think of him as like the full name because it's like, "Oh, that's Martin Short. He's in that movie," you know.
Right.
Or Martin Short to look over and go like, "Hey, Stevie." You know?
All right, I'll be right back.
Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah, hey, stepsis, you got a little something on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't get. I really don't get the fucking stepsis, stepbro thing. That's so fucking creepy. Is that an Optimus Prime ready to breed fucking GoBot? Or not GoBot, Transformer. Jesus.
No, I forget his actual name, but he's an actual toy, and that's an actual accessory. Gaming thinks it was Photoshop because it's supposed to spray out water.
Oh, like the poop plugs.
Yeah, well, someone moved it, or they could have used like wacky tacky or something and put it down there. So then the question is, what's this guy's name?
Well, okay, so the ejaculate that they've made for the fire truck, that looks like a lot like what model makers do when they're trying to make water. They'll just paint like or like some sort of glue on like a plastic sheet that it can just peel right off of, and then use that to like imitate water as it's like hanging down.
Probably. Although this is an actual toy, that's an actual accessory. It's just people are degenerates on the internet.
I'm just saying, I can see why people might think that. Like, it looks like something that's commonly done for other things.
Indeed.
Yeah. What was his name? The Hose Beast? I don't know.
Hose Beast. Waterboarder.
The Extinguisher.
Extinguisher. Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. I like Red Rocket. That's a good fucking name for him. God damn.
I think his actual name is Inferno, but don't quote me on that.
Oh man, he's got dance fever, that's for sure.
Yeah. He's looking to get down tonight. God damn. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd post a little something fun there in the chat or in the Discord.
Oh no. Man, I know I'm gonna go on like a little big binge after this.
Oh yeah? Binge of what?
Just watching little big videos. It's like they're fucking wacky fucking stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm looking at one, there's a guy dressed in like fancy clothes in a radio studio with a fucking goat. Like a goat wearing a bunch of chains and the other set of headphones. Like I gotta see what that's about. Definitely gonna have to watch Big Dick by Little Big. That's gonna be fucking entertaining.
One of the other things that I don't know much about Russia. It's never been a place I've ever been really interested in looking into. But one of the things that did put them on the map was, I don't know if you guys remember that meteorite, that shard of a meteorite that came down and it hit Russia.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing about that?
No, I did not.
So it was back.
Oh wait, no, I saw a video of that on like a totally unrelated thing. It was like a car, fucking weird things that happened while people were driving compilation.
Exactly. Well, because when the meteorite went down, there was a surprising amount of footage. Like footage, there's tons of it, and that's because in Russia, virtually everyone has a dash cam, and it's mostly for insurance purposes.
Yeah, because everybody wants to fucking rip them off.
Exactly.
Because it's like a constant problem.
Exactly. So everyone's got a camera, and so they're always getting this footage. Like I was just amazed when the meteorite went down, and you could see people's reaction. Like there was one guy, like, because when the meteor comes down, it's very bright. It's as bright as the sun. That's how fucking bright it is. And one guy just casually puts down his blinders and like just kept going. It's like he didn't give a fuck. Like fucking meteorites falling from the sky. He doesn't
Russians are unflappable, man. It's fucking crazy.
Like what surprised me the most about that meteorite? I don't know if you guys ever heard. I was home when the news hit, but it was discovered at the last moment. We didn't have an opportunity to prepare for it. If that meteorite was just off by a little bit, it would have hit the Earth and we would have all been dead. That's how fucking scary that was. But luckily, it didn't hit. But a fraction did come off, and it hit the hit Russia. And I was home, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, should I call my mom or should I just not say anything? Just let it happen. And in the end, I'm like, because at the time when I was hearing the news, I'm like, oh fuck, we could all die any minute now. Oh shit. And I just sort of decided, what's the point in scaring her? I'm just gonna let it all go, and pray no one's
that'd be terrible. Like, why tell anybody that doesn't know? They would be like, in the next 5 minutes, we either live or die. Guess what? Now you get to be terrified with me.
Exactly. And so when I saw that, I'm like, I pray no one's watching the news. So I had my phone on me, and I'm just waiting for all this to happen. It's like, I'm just gonna sit here scared. Do I have any alcohol? Oh, yes, I do have alcohol. So,
yes, that is a time for alcohol if I've ever heard one.
So yeah, I downed all my liquor. I didn't have much, enough to get sauced. And when my mom came home, and I was like, it's glad to see you. She's like, what's wrong? Why are you drunk? I explained to her, oh, we all almost died. It's like, oh, okay. Why are you drunk? Did I stutter?
Like we were close to death, woman. Oh
like,
man.
I showed her to the TV.
I'm pretty glad I didn't know about that. That sounds pretty fucking disturbing.
Well, it was so shocking, and most people just sort of like we shrug our shoulders because nothing happened, which is good. But like I said, it's one of those things. Like we were so underprepared for asteroids. Yeah,
that's such a big out of our control kind of thing, though. Like there's really not a lot we could do, you know.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It would be nice, like okay, if we knew that an asteroid was in our solar system and it's heading our way, like we could plan for that. Like for instance, like it was probably in our system like for a week, and we could have easily prepared. Like we could have like come up with predictions and models and.
It wouldn't surprise me if our astronomers all knew it was coming and were like, well, it's gonna miss, so let's just not tell anybody until way late, you know, because there's just no reason to get people worried.
Well, at the time,
I could see that being, yeah.
Well, because you need to understand, like we always look at NASA as being the number one place for all that kind of information about space and stuff, but they've been defunded like year after year, and they are so underfunded.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, NASA is. Yeah, they're really.
And like they were the most important thing that we had, and because they're so underfunded, we're so underprepared, and it has to get to the point where fucking Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are the ones who are funding space exploration right now. How fucked up is that? Like we have the ability. We built this fucking thing called NASA to do all this for us, and we just defunded them by just tons of money. And as a result, I don't know if you heard, but China now has a space station.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
Exactly. I let me see. Like this happened like a month ago when they did a live stream and all that. You could see all the footage, and like fuck, they have a goddamn space station. They made history like a month ago. There we go. Chinese space station. I remember looking at it and I'm like, fuck, this is.
They landed some shit on the far side of the moon, right? Like not too long ago.
Yes, they did do that as well. All of this is quite frightening. Like they landed on the dark side of the moon. They landed in. They fucking got shit done. So while we're busily talking about like critical race theories and trans rights and all this other bullshit, China's fucking outpacing us in the space race.
Yeah.
And if they're on the dark side of the moon, they were the first. Like, they didn't land on there. They landed like a drone, a rover, or something. So that's like it. What's impressive is it was on the dark side of the moon, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's where most of the alien bases are.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh man, I'm looking at one of those delivery sites for food. So I was thinking about potentially getting donuts tomorrow. $27.99 for a dozen donuts. So that's going to be a big fucking nope.
Where the
That's
fuck
not
is
counting
that at?
taxes or delivery fees. California, baby.
So like $40 basically.
And I'm sure they're the same quality as the ones you get like for, $5 a dozen at Safeway.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they're not any better than those. They're not like these really amazing, magically good donuts. They're just really fucking expensive. I was just like, Jesus. Yeah, because every once in a while it's like, oh, maybe I'll just do a treat for the whole family. I'll just order a bunch of donuts or something, or go pick up a bunch of donuts. It's usually what I would do. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm certainly not gonna order them for $30 a dozen.
No, not $30. That's fucking crazy.
Is that like a farmer's market or something?
No, it's just like a little cafe, like a little donut shop.
Oh.
I think it's called Andy's Donuts, if you really want to know.
See that?
I'm sure them and like 100 other fucking places are called that too. So.
See, the part that sucks is like I know I would love to support small businesses, but they really do charge more than just going to like an actual like a grocery store or something. And like,
you know what, dude? Let me see if I can find them online. I would be surprised if their prices aren't like lower if you go in the store, like substantially lower.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Is there any menu? They're not big enough to have like their own website, sadly.
We probably have a Facebook.
Oh, there used to be a 24-hour donut shop. That might explain some of the fucking some of the prices or some of the why it's like in business still.
Right. Whenever
I'm seeing $15 a dozen for just regular donuts. So that might actually be his normal prices. That's fucking crazy.
Well, it could also be if it's a small business that they need to make ends meet, and they probably forced to raise the prices.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of money for donuts, though. I mean, that is a lot of. $30 for a dozen. Damn it, I don't math well in my head on that kind of thing.
$2.50 a piece, dude.
Yeah, that's $2.50 a pop. That's really fucking expensive. Well, my mom ordered them before from there, and they were good donuts, but I don't know, definitely not worth that much money.
Probably not.
That's all right. My mom decided she wanted to go buy donuts one morning before COVID, so we were drowsed. We went and just found this place that she found online, and she just, I guess, didn't look close enough. The donuts were $6 a pop.
Ugh.
It was like $6 a pop. Everybody
$72.
there was like the most pretentious fuckstick of a fucking what do you call those people?
Hipsters.
Yeah, hipster kind of guys. Oh my fucking Christ! I could have done the world a favor with a tire iron in like a half an hour. Dude, there were like 3. There were fucking 3. There were 3 fucking big mustaches. All behind the counter, too.
If this had been Minecraft and you went in there with a fucking, machine gun, the world would have loved you.
I'm telling you, with an hour and a tire iron, I could have done the world so much good. I don't think the bullets. I don't think they rate bullets. Bullets are too quick. So that's a $6 donut, and she fucking bought. I swear to God, she bought like 2 dozen. Everybody was staring because nobody there was buying more than 1 donut. It was fucking hilarious.
Like $150.
It was
2 dozen. That's like $150, dude.
Well, my mom makes really good money.
It'd be $144 plus tax.
It was about $150. Yeah,
$150.
Yeah, she tipped him too, which I thought was a little excessive. Like these people have obviously ripped you off at this point. Because, like, at a certain point, there are no ingredients that cost that much more. Like, pastry flour is only so expensive. Yeast only costs so much. Like, there's I don't think there's any way you're buying, like, $1,200 yeast.
Yeah, even the top of the line shit. You cannot justify that price.
Yeah, $6 a donut, my God. Well,
at that point, you're catering to a specific segment of the population.
Yeah, you're the money is because of the atmosphere more than the product at that point. Well, it's like my aunt, when she ran she ran a bar restaurant that she owned, did amazing. The second she's not working there every day, fucking tanked. My cousin's running 2 restaurant bars and like a small takeout restaurant only, where it's like they cater specifically to just taking, sending food to people. And he's doing great, but I guarantee if he walked away, they'd tank because they just have that weird magnetism that makes people want to be around them all the time. Their product is themselves, even though it's a restaurant and you're buying like food and booze. The product is my cousin. That's what he's making the money with. I mean, it doesn't hurt that he looks like a fucking supermodel. Like, he's ridiculously hot.
That could also be a factor, yes.
Yeah.
Although, isn't most people in California?
Not really.
I don't know.
If you go to Hollywood, if you go to like Southern California around Hollywood areas, yeah, of course, because a lot of really attractive people want to be actors and actresses, and they all sort of gravitate to that area.
Yeah, even like the San Diego area.
I'm in Northern California. There's a lot of dykes here.
No, right?
You don't understand the hideousness that we see on a regular basis here. It's not meant for the human eye.
A lot of women wearing plaid shirts, dude.
There's a lot of really hideous people of all types, really. But the nice thing is it's sort of like rattlesnakes, but visually. You know, like you see the chick that's got both sides and the back of her head shaved with like a tuft of green hair and piercings all over her face. Just don't go anywhere near her. Like there's a 20-foot zone that you just don't want to be in. Like,
right.
And there's this big visual reminder. Yeah, it's like,
Tila from the new Masters of the Universe.
Did I see Tila from New Masters of the Universe? Oh, gee, I only made a video about the whole thing. Jesus fucking Christ. That bitch. Yeah. What the fuck happened there?
Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
If you look at Tila from the Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe has a super dykey haircut.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I thought it was funny that there was a lot of complaints about the original He-Man, and they're like, they're not real body types. And somebody's like, you dummy, they rotoscoped that. Those were just drawings done over film of actors. Like, those were, in fact, exactly what real people looked like.
Yeah. And then they made Tila and all the chicks, like, super fucking buff, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And all the dudes look super wimpy.
That body type. Yeah.
See, when I watch He-Man, I want to see ridiculously buff dudes, ridiculously hot chicks, and none of it should make any fucking sense. Because I remember as a kid, those shows were just absurd, silly bullshit with like a thin veneer of like a, you know, friends are, you should always, you know, support your friends. Friends are great, you know, or like, don't bully people. It's not nice. You know, like that kind of dumb 80s message.
Yeah. Knowing it's half the battle.
It was essentially, it was just ripping off the idea from G.I. Joe, essentially, but without being as obvious. It was the same level of like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, we just want to watch you blow shit up. Don't, you know.
I think even kids were like,
really nobody dies in these wars.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or I guess they do now. Fucking Kevin Smith killed off fucking He-Man twice in that fucking series, dude.
Oh, well, there was in the original He-Man, there was a villain, and his power was to light up and scare people in the dark, and his name was Scareglow. And I feel like that should really tell you everything you need to know about the show. Like,
oh god.
Yeah, there was a guy who was always like feeling like his, you know, he was always like, oh, my power is so useless, and his name was Mechaneck, and his power was literally he could stretch his head out. Like, he could just stretch his neck really far and like send his head out. That's all he could do. And it's like, yeah, your power really does suck.
Dude, from what I understand is they actually started with the action figures, and then fucking built the story around it.
Probably. I mean, it was literally He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, GoBots, all of that shit was just to sell toys. Silverhawks, you know, it was just to get you to buy action figures. They didn't care how much you liked the show, other than it sold action figures. That's why Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was such a huge fucking thing. Was because they just sold the shit out of action figures. Like, everybody fucking bought their Leonardo and Michelangelo fucking turtles and shit.
I assume that was a Star Wars effect, because George Lucas insisted on keeping all of the merchandising rights for like action figures and shit when he did Star Wars. God damn, dude. Way beyond the movies, that made him fucking a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, he.
So I assume everyone after that was like,
really ended up winning on that deal for sure. I'm sure the studios fucking hated him for a long time. Like, no doubt they made a bunch of money back because just the movies themselves, but man, I'm sure they were not happy to be kept out of that fucking piece of pie.
Well, I think a lot of people didn't realize
billions of dollars.
I think a lot of people didn't realize how popular Star Wars was going to be. Because Star Wars, as far as they could tell, because most science fiction was like shows for kids.
I mean, it was literally just a cheap Kurosawa knockoff, fucking in space, you know.
Yeah. And they didn't think it would go anywhere. But, I mean, lo and behold, it was the fucking mega hit of the century. Still pretty much, well, in a lot of ways it still is, because a lot of the people who grew up watching that, they still love it. And even now, like, even though all the hate the prequels got, there are people who just fucking love the prequels now because it's better than what we're currently getting.
Yeah, well, supposedly Star Wars is going to be back in the hands of Jon Favreau, and he's the one that put out. He's the one that put out the one shining thing in a pile of shit, the Mandalorian. So,
yeah, I would hope so.
Crazy what happens when you get somebody who's actually a fan of the franchise to do something.
Yeah, no. From what I've seen, there's this dude who apparently has a lot of inside info in Hollywood or whatever. On YouTube, and he's talking about it, and he was saying, like, no, it's Jon Favreau and this other guy are basically going to be in charge of Star Wars from now on. So
I would certainly hope so.
As long as Kathleen Kennedy isn't involved, it should be okay.
Yeah, she's out the door. There was like an interior civil war, and the people who make the decisions couldn't be like, we hate you, Kathleen Kennedy, because of the politics, but they wanted her out because she's not making the money. Mr. Mad Metal Man, nice to see you, man. It's it has been a minute. Hope everything is well, sir.
Well, we get 3 people watching. Okay, well, hey, yeah, it's hard to say in regards to what's going on with Disney. I think, like, with Star Wars and all that, because a lot of these people, because Kathleen Kennedy, she's been in the industry for a long time, and we all know that the industry in Hollywood is quite corrupt and has a lot of skeletons in the closet, let's say. And if you're someone like nepotism. And if you're someone like Kathleen Kennedy, you've been there for a long time, and she probably has dirt on people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the reasons why it could have been the main reason why she got the job, not because she's actually good.
Oh, I'm sure it was, yeah.
Like
it's really the only way. It's the only way to explain, not necessarily a way to explain her getting the job, but her keeping the job for this long. You know what I mean? That's the thing that makes
the amount of money that she's been bleeding out of Disney is like, even her fucking connections and her dirt won't save her. Is essentially what it boils down to. Like, they've lost so much money on all of this that it just is not. It just doesn't work.
It usually depends, because it depends on what the dirt is and what they have. Like, for all we know, and it's very possible because of all the connections, that people higher up in Disney have connections or dealings with one Mr. Epstein, and should information get out, well, that could ruin everyone involved, and maybe even the company. So
honestly, at this point, I think if that information got out, it would last for 5 fucking minutes, and then people would just move on. People are so fucking ridiculous these days, man. When it comes to that kind of stuff, they just don't give a shit.
You see, you would hope so, but the reason why I'm skeptical on that is because, like, look at the media. The media hasn't really gone after Hollywood, but you have to remember, like, the media, their payoff is usually like big people like either China or the Democratic Party or whatever. But there's no connection to Hollywood. So should skeletons get out, they will fucking cover that like crazy because they're desperate for content. We have a hungry media looking for any story whatsoever. And should something come out, then they're fucking done. And I'm actually a bit surprised they haven't been covering the whole Scarlett Johansson thing with her suing Disney. Even though that's probably going to blow up in her face. And I don't like that. Have you guys heard about the Scarlett Johansson thing?
Oh, yeah, the Scarlett Johansson thing. She might actually win that case.
She's probably not gonna. And
because the numbers are going to come out, and they knew that they were going to take a bath on streaming instead of just doing a in-theater release.
So
there's no way they couldn't have known that was going to lose millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, because they put it on streaming as well.
And as somebody who's supposed to be getting part of those millions and millions of dollars, they should not have done that. Like, she has a valid point of, like, that's not something they should have done. I should have had part of like that money. You know, like I don't know. If the best thing that could happen at the very least, whether she wins or loses, if the real numbers are forced out into the public, that would be really kind of cool.
I mean, maybe and the reason why I'm skeptical about her actually winning the case is because we have another Marvel movie coming out soon. It's that Shang-Chi movie that no one cares about. The early predictions, it's going to suck. And the reason why that's important is because if that movie comes out and it sucks, they're going to blame the Delta virus. They're going to blame COVID. They're going to blame everything else. And they're saying like, oh, well, if this movie later on is also a flop, well, then it's not that we didn't, because you also have to remember Shang-Chi isn't coming to Disney Plus. It will in like a month. It has like a 40-some day time in theaters, so it's probably going to be in theaters longer than Black Widow, and it's probably going to make less. And if it makes less, then that'll be their excuse of saying, well, I guess it's not, because you have to remember she has to get paid like back end stuff like toy sales and ticket sales and stuff. So that's how she gets the extra money. But if people are tired of Marvel movies, or that they're blaming the coof on all this, well then she has no leg to stand on. So if this movie fails, she's not going to win the lawsuit because they're going to say, well, it's the coof. Clearly, look at this. Otherwise, you know, like look at this. This movie isn't even on Disney Plus. And look, it's going to make less. And it probably will.
Yeah.
So, Shang-Chi, like, if that movie's successful, great. And it'll help Scarlett Johansson out. But at the same time, I ain't going to promote this. I know nothing about Shang-Chi. I don't give a fuck. The trailers are boring as hell.
Yeah.
And it could be that this movie was sabotaged from the beginning because they probably knew that things were going to go bad, and they probably knew that there's a good possibility that Black Widow is going to tank because that movie was shit. I mean, like, okay, I shouldn't say that it's shit.
I watched it. The movie was terrible.
Well, there's some good bits, but let me tell you,
the whole thing was boring.
Oh, for sure. Well, okay, I think
there were a couple of really good laughs with the interplay with the dad guy and the mom guy.
Yeah.
Like some of the family scenes were some good laughs. But overall, like there was just nothing to that movie. It was not very exciting or interesting at all.
Right. Well, I enjoyed some of the action scenes and some of the car chases were pretty cool. Taskmaster was the greatest disappointment. That fucking I almost wanted to pull my hair out. I just like, what are you doing, Marvel? What are you doing? But yeah, so there's a lot that didn't work, and yeah, so they're gonna, like I say, they're gonna blame the virus and everything, and that's what really is the reason why this movie or her movie did so badly. And now
the problem is they have several other movies that they did prior to the Black Widow that had the same pattern.
Well,
so
yeah,
I think that's going to make a fairly compelling case that they should have known that was going to be the pattern and made a different decision. So that's her case, and it'll come down to court to decide one or the other. Who knows? I'm sure Disney's lawyers are way fucking better.
Yeah, well, like I said, they're going to argue because this movie fails. There's also another one called The Eternals, and that one's also pretty much going to be a failure. You can just tell from the trailer, like, this is going to suck. But that's also going to cover.
I haven't seen anything on that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you can look up the trailers. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I was going to set it up right now, just like search it, and so I can watch it later.
No one's interested in The Eternals. But I think that was like these movies were designed to fail because they knew Black Widow. There's always a potential because they don't know if they're ever going to recover their money. They don't know if they're going to get anything out of the toy sales. They don't know nothing because we're in the unpredictable.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That's the other one you were talking about.
Yeah, that's the next one coming up, and then after that, it's the Eternals.
Yeah, neither of these looks great.
Nope, no, they're going to be bad, and I guarantee you, they probably edited Shang-Chi and designed it to be bad. I think that they know perfectly. I think they're sabotaging it just to cover their asses because they knew that there was a potential for for the Scarlett Johansson shit to go down. They probably knew she could sue it.
It one and the Shang-Chi stuff is just to fucking please China. There's no reason for it other than that.
Well, and not just that, like you're right. Yeah, it was designed to try and please China, and that blew up in their faces superb because China, from what they've been saying, and to put it nicely, in many ways, the actor who plays Shang-Chi, according to the Chinese, is ugly. They're saying this guy is fucking horrendous. And
Mad Metal says Shang-Chi is going to be as popular as the New Mutants. I was like, that's probably right.
And the sad thing is, the New Mutants was actually relatively good. They just didn't advertise it, and they just sort of wanted to ignore its existence.
Is the New Mutants the one where they're all in a fucking like school?
I think that's the one where they're in an insane asylum.
Yeah, but then it's supposed to be like they're told it's a school, but it's really like a weird experimentation for that creepy guy that made Wolverine.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. That was actually a decent movie.
I haven't seen it all the way through. I've seen clips.
I mean, it wasn't great. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't great, but it was all right to watch.
Well, I heard that the villain was what's it called, the Nega Bear or something. It's like a big giant evil bear. I thought, how is a bear a villain? But I remember I was surprised because I'd go through the comics. And I thought, oh, this is actually surprisingly good. What the fuck is this thing?
I really enjoyed the Suicide Squad, the sequel to the first one.
You and everyone else. That's
it was actually really interesting, fun, action-packed movie that had no politics really of any kind in it. It was just like, here's the good guys, there's the bad guys. They're gonna beat the fuck out of each other. Go.
Well, and not to mention, like, if you're comparing like this movie, the second Suicide Squad, to all the other DC movies, the other movies are forgettable. Like, yes, the Snyder Cut was a big deal, but the villain's just some big guy in a shiny suit. No one's going to remember that. But everyone's going to remember a giant fucking starfish with an eye crushing around some town. That is fucking
shooting out little baby starfish eyes that took over everyone's body.
Dude, that is so fucking like it's one of the most comic.
It's fucking awesome.
It's one of the most comic book things that DC has ever done, or at least modern day DC movies, and it's fucking fantastic. Like this is why you need to lean into your source material, and when you do, you're gonna get it's gonna be successful. Comics they had to go through the grinder to make something that was successful and stick and stand out. So just embrace the weirdness of it all, and you'll do great. And like James Gunn, he's done this. He's done this like before with Guardians of the Galaxy. He leaned into that cosmic sci-fi comic book shit, and it worked. Everyone fucking loved that. Even in the second movie, yeah, the second one's a little jokey, but yeah, everyone fucking loves that movie. And Taika Waititi, who also is oddly enough in Suicide Squad, he's the rat catcher's father, or rat person, rat king, whatever his name is. Yeah, that's the girl's father, and that's Taika Waititi. He's the director of Thor Ragnarok. Fucking love that guy. All right, I shouldn't say I love him. I hate his politics. He's a fucking loser, but he makes really good movies. Like if you haven't checked out Jojo Rabbit,
there's a Marvel Zombies movie. Shit.
It's a What If, and it's an animated thing, and that comes out next Wednesday, I think.
I will have to watch that. That sounds interesting.
Well, it's probably going to be terrible because they came up with the first episode, which is a what if Captain Carter took the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. And it's literally a woman's head on a man's body. It is gross. And 3 times throughout the whole episode, they go, "A woman?" Like, okay, it was fine the first time because they're in a time when women weren't, seen to be doing this kind of stuff, so that made sense. But they kept doing that same line over and over again. Like, we get it, she's a woman, and like, why is anyone even saying that she's a woman? She looks like a fucking man.
Yeah. I liked your title for that video, He-Man.
Man, yeah.
Excuse me, sir. It is He-Man. Oh, hipster donut, nice. Yeah, that donut shop was crazy. $6 fucking a donut. Goddamn. But they
Yeah,
did have those maple bacon donuts.
Gross.
Which I didn't get because I don't want bacon on my donut. I mean, maybe I'm weird.
You see, there. Okay, in the holiday season, there's this one grocery store in my city, and they come out with these 2 sodas. And I keep thinking that I tried that. One was a bacon flavored soda, and the other one was a chocolate chip flavored soda. I never gotten either because they sound gross, but there's that morbid curiosity in me, and I've never gotten them. And that for the last, I've known of their existence for over a decade, and I've never gotten them.
Yeah. Nope, I have no interest in it.
I keep thinking this will be the year I'll give it a try. Why not? It's only $1 for a 2-liter bottle of the shit. Like I'm not like I'm out a lot of money. And if I don't like it, I can always toss it. It only costs me $1.
Oh damn, that's cheap.
Yeah, $1 for a 2-liter. It's one of those like was it surplus grocery stores, whatever they're fucking called? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like no name brand.
See, I'm like the donut purist. I like old fashioned glazed and plain donuts absolutely the most out of all donuts.
Dude, give me a honey curler any day. Fucking love those things.
What's a honey curler? I've never heard of that.
Honey curler. Well, it's a thing that they serve mostly at Tim Hortons. Let me see. It might be called something different in your area. I'm pretty sure it's
I'm gonna look up a picture of it. Oh, also the movie Mad Metal Man was talking about its potential for 225. 2025 is a live action of Marvel Zombies that they're shopping around. Maybe it gets made, maybe it doesn't. It's just being talked about. So that's what he was talking about with Marvel Zombies, apparently. Let's see, honey.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. We call those, what are they? It's a cruller.
That could be it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cruller is what we call them. But yeah, that's, oh, it's a honey cruller. You're just saying it wrong. Now I get it.
Maybe it's the Canadian me coming out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really close. I mean, cruller and curler are extremely close. It's not like it's a big mistake. See, but yeah, those things are delicious. Yeah, those are good. Especially like if they're just like plain or glazed.
Exactly.
So I'm guessing honey cruller is just like a light honey glaze on it. That would be really good.
See, I remember going to this one convention, and I was the first one there, and there's a little donut shop in there, and I thought, I'll just get like a dozen, like get 12 of them or something. Get some donuts for me and my buddies. It'll be a thing to help us wake up in the morning. And I go there and I asked, can you put in at least a couple of those honey curlers, and the rest can be whatever. And so I paid for the donuts, and I sit down. I open up the box. It's nothing but honey curlers. Like, oh, okay, okay. I guess you didn't hear that last bit. So I cleared her out on that. But I guess it was destiny because I had them, and so my friends come over, and half of them didn't want any donuts, and the other half didn't like that type of donut, and so I'm stuck. I'm stuck with all these donuts. I'm like, fuck. I mean, and so now I'm walking around the convention hall. I'm eating a donut every now and then. I had such a sugar rush that day. Fuck.
God damn.
So I said, yeah, the last time I'm getting donuts for you fuckers.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, you were thinking of getting a big fucking variety of them, not the just honey crullers.
That's true, yeah.
So had you gotten a variety, it probably would have worked out well. That lady fucked you over. You should find her and kill her. That's a totally reasonable response.
She gave me like 12 of my favorite donuts. I'm not going to do that. But it was annoying walking around with the whole box. And I'm walking around the dealer's stand, and I'm like, oh, I should get it now. My hands are
you
already
managed
full.
to walk around a convention with a box of donuts, and nobody fucking came up and was like, oh, can I have a donut? Oh, can I have a donut? Like, I'm surprised you made it 10 feet.
I mean, I was surprised too, but I mean, I made it, so it worked out fine.
Damn.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was intimidating, or maybe people thought it was someone else. I don't know.
No.
It was at like a later. Yeah, I don't know. I ate it all. It worked out fine. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm sure if there's a convention now, it'll definitely not be. No one will want donuts because of the COVID thing. Nobody will take anything from anybody.
I mean, maybe a lot of young people go to conventions and they don't give a fuck. They
shouldn't. They're relatively safe. I mean, it's.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I see a lot of kids. Like when I take public transit, there's always a lot of kids, and they're always wearing the mask. But it's summertime now, and all the restrictions have been lifted. No one gives a fuck. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. As far as the the donuts pipes things, are you familiar with the Napoleon donut?
It
it's
sounds
not really donut, but
familiar, but I don't know it. But let me look at it because, as we found out, it might be just a different name for something that I fucking have all the time.
Yeah, they're usually sold in like these rectangular chunks, right? It's basically like like going from the bottom up. It'll be like a layer of pastry, then like a custard of some kind, another layer of pastry, a level of chocolate, another level of pastry, a level of custard, and then the pastry again, and then chocolate on top.
Okay, I can kind of see like what you're thinking in your. Yeah, I can visualize that in my head, and I've never had anything like that. No,
dude. When I lived in New York, the local, like, I lived in a very small town back there, but the local general store, we didn't have any big food chain place or food market chains in the town I lived in, but the general store would always have donuts on Sundays, and they would always have those as part of the donut selection, and they're fucking fantastic, dude. It's
is that fucking good. Similar to like a tiramisu? It kind of feels like that would be similar to a tiramisu. Not the same flavor, obviously. I mean, a completely different flavor.
Right.
But just similar in construction to, like, there's, layers and like there's cream and chocolate and shit all in those the layers. Let's see.
It could be. Let me see if I can find a picture. Because I know it's more of a pastry than a donut, for sure. So let me type in Napoleon pastry and see what I can pull up. But yeah, I've never really found them anywhere out here. The only place I've seen them, they did it with different flavors. Like it would be like strawberry and then like whipped cream instead of the custard and the chocolate layers.
Let's see. You know what I'm saying? Is this what you're talking about, sir?
Oh, here's a good picture, dude.
Okay, yeah, I wonder if it's anything. I found a picture and uploaded it, so we'll see. Yeah, you made it in time for the food portion. Yeah. Good job.
I'm on my phone. Yeah. I'm on my phone, so let me check and see what you put in there.
Yeah, it might save you a little frustration.
Yeah, it's not. No, that's more of like a cream puff thing, dude.
Yeah, because that's like that looks insanely over the top. Like, holy shit, that's a lot of fucking sugar. Like that's gonna be breakfast and lunch today.
Maybe I should.
A bacon-wrapped chocolate donut and a bacon-wrapped apple fritter. You know what? The bacon-wrapped apple fritter actually appealing. I don't know about the bacon-wrapped chocolate donut. It's not my kind of combination. But the bacon-wrapped apple fritter, because apple fritters, I do like me a good apple fritter, man. That is another one of those ones I really dig.
It always does the links now. Oh, you know what? I'm on my phone, so I'm on.
You literally just sent like the fucking file folder path.
Is it not even? God damn it! Hold on, let me try the other one.
The folder where I would find it. If I were searching your phone, I would now know like what folder to open.
Oh fuck!
Oh man,
that's fucking great. Let me see if this is different. Or is it the same thing?
No, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, let me try the fucking save, the just sharing or copying and pasting it. Yeah, because I tried to just share and then it just shares the link basically but it's not even a link, right? It's just a fucking what do you call it? Hold on.
You just got to drag the photo itself onto Discord, I think. I don't know how smartphones work. I don't have one, so.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I almost always do it from the computer, and that works. But this is the God damn it, motherfucker, dude.
Oh,
That did
man.
not work either. Fuck.
And then Samaj just keeps putting that fucking Mario picture up to taunt you. No. Oh yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of I don't want to combine too many things with bacon because bacon is so good, and I don't want to fucking start getting like into things that are that unhealthy for me. Like I feel like that would just be a terrible road to go down. But I'm sure it's like, you know, when you have like bacon and pancakes, you know, you take a bite of pancake, you take a bite of bacon, and it's like, oh, that's a great combo. With the fucking donuts.
Yeah, or like what do you call it? The sausage with like maple syrup is fantastic to me. I don't know about you, but
for sure, dude, for sure.
Or with pancakes. Yeah, because what I would normally do,
my favorite topping for like pancakes or waffles is you take and you pour a little like real maple syrup, not the log cabin fake syrup, but like real maple in, and you just slice
not the pancake syrup.
Slice in some peaches. You put that in a little pot and you just simmer it for a little while. Some fresh sliced peaches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you put that over pancakes or waffles. That's heaven right there, man. That peach and maple syrup really go together a lot more than you would think. It is such a good combination. Like other fruits are good, but peaches is where it's at.
Yeah. All right. Let me see if this works. Copy image. Let's see. Because like I said, it usually works on the computer. So, dude, we gotta change the settings to where the landing page, the landing room or whatever is general instead of rules. Like it's not a huge deal.
Metal Man says if you're trying to post a pic, it's the button next to the gift box looking thing on the chat bar. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's more like a petit four, but like square.
Yeah. But yeah, and the ones I would get would normally
that
be
still
just
looks
straight
way
chocolate.
over the top. That looks way over the top to me too.
Dude, yeah.
No, so they're definitely there's too much sugar.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Like a good dessert though. Like if you were just gonna have one as like a dessert, that would be like a really cool dessert, I think.
Like it's like a breakfast dessert, kind of, I guess. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you can have it any time, but you know, it's just essentially something that would be like, you know, you don't normally have dessert after breakfast, but if you did, that would be one of the things you could eat.
So honestly, the donut I posted is a little more insane, but it seems like basically the same concept, just with a donut instead of with pastry, like puff pastry.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's more of a cream puff type thing. Yeah, but similar ingredients, obviously.
Yeah.
Just a variation on essentially the same thing.
Oh, I don't think that's a cream puff. Yeah. I think that's actually a donut with a hole in the middle that's been sliced into several small like sections, and then that's all been filled in. Because I'm seeing the donuts in the background and thinking, oh, that must be. Oh, maybe it is a puff pastry. I don't know. That's. Whatever. They both look really fucking absurdly over the top.
Yeah. Although for me, you know, there's very rarely is there anything that I come across that I'm like, oh wait, man, that's way too sweet. You know, because normally what I do is I drink a shitload of milk with something like that, and I think that kind of cleanses the palate for each bite.
I think for me, it's the keto thing. I did keto for a while, and it just adjusted my sweets. So I'm not as interested on sweets as I used to be. Oh man, that Gabby Hanna thing that you were talking about, I found out more about her. She is fucking awful. There was like some reason a video came up on my YouTube feed. It was like an hour and a half thing and just like about her, like in her career crashing. And there were two different people she tried to force to be her friend, essentially, who she tried to force to say that they were friends. and just led like harassment campaigns. So there was at least 2 different people in that. Apparently, her OnlyFans is like a total scam. It's just like Instagram pictures. Like there's no lewds of any kind. And she's been involved in like a bunch of other scam type shit. Like there was a makeup brush scam and some other shit where people would order stuff and just not get anything decent.
You know what's funny? Dude, the video that you watched and that you posted was exactly the same one that I had watched. I was going to share it, but I'm like, I don't even know if he's...
I just put it on in the background while I was playing video games and listened to it. It was pretty fucking crazy.
That interested.
The little bit you told me got me interested. And I was like, oh, okay.
How fucking...
She fucking...
well, I guess it's not
outed somebody as a rape victim, I think, in one case. Like, she literally, like, this person on YouTube, she outed them as a rape victim and started using that as a way to try to, like, fucking force her to do whatever it was that she wanted her to do. It's like, holy shit. That's fucking... fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, even that one... Yeah, even that one was like, all right, fine, I'll sign an NDA, but you got to sign one too. And she's like, no, I want to be able to talk about this. Like, you fucking bitch. You're asking somebody else to sign an NDA about this shit.
Yeah.
And then you refuse to sign it? You sign one?
Yeah, so the only one who would be allowed to talk about it would be her, would be Gabby Hanna, yeah. Those two look fucking delicious.
Yeah.
Mad Middleman. God damn, that donut wrapped in bacon does look really good. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that is interesting, dude. Like I said, I like maple syrup with pretty much any pork product for like breakfast, whether it's bacon, sausage, fucking ham. Well, maybe not ham. No, not ham. But bacon or sausage with kind of mixed in with maple syrup, dude. They really offset each other's, over the top saltiness and over the top.
Ham is always good with like brown sugar honey on it. Like a brown sugar or a honey glaze or both.
Yeah.
That's what you want to go with ham. Yeah.
Indeed.
So a lot of times now,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say a lot of times now when we have ham in my house, because we don't have that many people, we don't want to buy a whole-sized ham. We buy one of those little mini ones. And then if you slice it up and then bake it with the glaze on it, that's fucking amazing. It's so much better than if you just put the glaze on the outside and don't take it apart.
Yeah. You know what I used to use? I would cook up like one of those big chunks of ham. Like it's, obviously right off of it, but it's probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. Like it's pretty deep, pretty thick. Basically, I would put like mustard on it. And then fry it up in a frying pan with mustard on each side. That actually comes out pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be good. I think I like the cloves and the orange and then the brown sugar and honey all mixed in there.
Yeah, that's fucking good too, dude, for sure. And yeah, that's the way they make a lot of them, dude.
Yeah.
It's just with the brown sugar and or honey.
Yeah, for the most part. But man, that clove flavor is really that fucking makes it. And you can either like stud cloves in there, or I like to just put a little pinch of just ground cloves in. Because, then you don't have to sit and pull out a bunch of cloves before you can eat the ham.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense, yeah. Because that would have to be a pain in the ass having to pick all those things back out.
I've done that with a full-sized ham, and yes, it fucking is. When you take and put like 200 fucking cloves on a ham one at a time, that takes a really long time. And then when you got to take them back out after it's baked, it's like, oh, this is a really fucking obnoxious idea, and I don't think I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, if you're going to inject shit into any kind of meat like that, you almost want it to be something that you don't have to take back out.
Yeah.
Something that'll either caramelize or fucking, whatever.
Yeah, like one of the ones we do with pork tenderloin. We'll take a little knife, like a little paring knife, and just put little holes in it. And then just shove cloves of garlic in the holes.
All right, interesting.
And so when you bake it, the garlic bakes with it. And then you just got to slice it and you just leave the garlic in. You don't got to take it out. It's all fucking delicious.
Yeah, pork tenderloin's fucking great, dude. My son really likes that. I don't think he'd
Yeah.
like the garlic though, so I'm gonna try that because he. I remember
Yeah,
making
it's
like
not
the
the
mashed
only way you can
potatoes.
do it, but yeah, it's one of the ways we do it. It's with that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but for some reason he's because I make mashed potatoes that for whatever reason seem to turn out really, really good. Like everybody fucking like compliments me on them. But anyways, one time I put in just a little bit of garlic, dude,
He
or
wouldn't
garlic
touch him.
powder or whatever. Yeah, he was like, it's all right, but it tastes worse than without him.
No, he's not a fan of
He
garlic
didn't
then.
really hate it, but he didn't really like it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the other way I do pork tenderloin is I'll soak it in a little bit of teriyaki, or not teriyaki, soy sauce. I don't know why I said teriyaki. And then just do like a nice herb crust on the outside, salt, pepper, garlic, maybe a little onion powder, and whatever else your heart desires. Like I like certain things, but not everybody, it's like I like thyme and stuff like that, but everybody's got their different sort of herb crust they put on their meats.
Right. Dude, I made like a homemade Mongolian beef one time.
Ooh.
And the main part of the fucking shit is making the sauce. Like it's kind of complicated, but I did it, and the sauce was like pitch fucking black, dude. It was kind of like weird, and it didn't look appetizing. But it actually turned out tasting really good.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I marinated the meat, like I cut it into the strips or whatever, and I think I marinated the was it flat iron steak? Is that what it's called? I know it's flat something.
Flat iron steak, flank steak. It's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, marinated it overnight and then fucking
it cooks really fast, and you got to cut it against the grain because otherwise you'll never chew it enough.
Yeah,
but if you cut it against the grain, it's fucking great. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, those steaks really can be just like chewing, like it's like meat flavored bubble gum, dude. Like Jesus Christ, dude.
If you cut them with the grain, for some reason, I don't know why. That used to be how my dad would always cut meat, is with the grain. And so, like, you'd be sitting there chewing on the same bite for like 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah, fucking, that was weird.
So that's one of the things I learned very quickly. Yeah, cut against the grain.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, that flat iron steak, dude, is like never on sale. So I only do it when it's on sale.
Isn't it always fairly cheap though? I thought it was flank steak was generally a fairly cheap cut.
Yeah, the flat iron steak is usually like $8 a pound, so it's not super expensive, but it's not.
But it's not really super cheap. Okay, we don't use it very often, so. We tend to use like tri-tips a lot more for probably a lot of the stuff that you'd use a flat iron steak for.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, that's the only time I've ever bought a flat iron steak. So, it's kind of tough to tell, over time or whatever.
Gum. Yeah, we should make that an actual thing. We need a GoFundMe. I don't know about that, man, middleman. They have bees that eat rotten meat and make honey out of it, or a honey-like substance. I still think that's a thing we could market too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that would want to eat that. They'd be like, I want to eat the fucking meat honey.
Yeah, that is fucking nuts, dude.
And they even build high like combs and stuff, just like they do with honey, and like cap it off. It's all the same thing. They eat it and puke it back into the little fucking honeycomb and use it to make their babies big and strong.
Yeah. Is it like maggots where they only eat the rotten part?
I don't know if they only eat the rotten part or if that's just what attracts them to wherever the meat is, and they eat like just the soft tissues or something. I think.
Yeah, because you know how like maggots will only eat the rotten shit?
Oh, like, they'll crawl around in the meat and like only eat certain parts of it. Yeah, I don't know if it's only the rotten parts though.
I think it's just the rotten parts because I've seen them where they're like a guy had this gaping wound in his fucking foot, and they basically threw up there and like taped it up, just like taped shut.
Yeah.
And apparently they'll just eat the rotten and they leave the living tissue alone.
Yep.
Yeah. So weird using like fucking maggots or leeches for medical shit.
Oh yeah, no, it is
nuts.
strange, but yeah, they use that shit all the time. Like the leeches help with severed limbs. Like apparently that's a really big thing. They can kind of get like all the bad blood out of it or some shit.
Encourages your more blood to go.
Oh, you're kind of breaking up for me.
And more blood flows to the spot where it's losing blood, I guess.
Oh, I think I got the gist of what you're saying, but man, you're coming in and out.
Oh, okay. It's breaking up on my time too. Hold on. I'm going back in. I'll get on the
computer
again. And it should work better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'll hear more than every like fourth or fifth word.
Give me like 10 seconds. Yeah, that'll probably be helpful because it's breaking up on my end too. Like I'm missing out like a couple seconds here and there. What you're saying, so.
Yep.
Fucky. All right. And Gmail. Okay.
And we're just listening to dates while like hem and haw at his fucking phone.
Type it up. Hold on, I'll cross over right now. Rolling out.
Yes, he did turn into an Autobot. That's a pretty good description. Man, I think I'm finally over my Lego obsession.
You think so, eh?
Well, I got like probably $200 worth of Legos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't be saying that because I'm pretty sure I spent more than you on Legos. But mine was different because I spent it all on Marvel stuff.
Oh, most of my Legos were Minecraft Legos.
Well, you see, what got me... well, I know exactly how I got started in all of this. It was that fucking Lego movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'll get you. I just remembered Legos from being a kid.
Well, see, they were around too, but they were never mine, and the people who did have them didn't want me playing with them, so I said, okay, fine, fuck you too.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so I never had a chance, and Legos were expensive even back then, so I would never get any. Like, no. But I did get Ninja Turtle toys, so that was my thing. So, yeah, Legos, what got me was the Lego movie, because I'm a big fan of animation. And I watched it, thinking it was going to be a product placement, something or other, and it was because it's Lego. But my God, that movie was way better than I thought it was going to be. Like I could sit down and watch that and enjoy that movie. It got me. And so I was at a convention, and there was a guy there who was selling like the minifigures, and I just out of a whim, because it was like $3 a figure. So I bought like the Emmett, the main character, and like it was a slow convention. So like I'm sitting there and I'm just playing with this thing. And I thought, fuck, I think I want to get the other one. And I got more, and then I thought, I'll get Deadpool because they also had Marvel ones. And then one thing led to another.
Oh, so you bought like Lego action figures. They weren't like kits that you had to put together.
No, because I thought those would be ridiculous. Because I wanted to get like the characters more than anything else, just because I thought, all right, but I ended up being like a completionist, so I ended up getting like one of every character.
Oh no!
Luckily, like the Lego movie didn't have like too crazy of a cast, so I spent about it was $3 a character. So I think there was only like 5 characters. I think. Either way, I didn't spend too much, but there was that one Deadpool one I got. And then I got looking for others. And then I found out that there are people who make custom minifigures, which apparently Lego is perfectly okay with people making. They won't come after you if you make those, because they usually get the license for this stuff, and it could take a long time before any Lego minifigure can actually get made. So and even then, they only make it if there's a demand. So, like, X-Men hasn't exactly been huge in the media for a while, except, of course, for those Fox movies. But people like me, I grew up with the cartoon. I want the fucking cartoon characters, and the only ones they ever released was Wolverine and Magneto in like a set, and I think there was a few others, but I want like everything. I wanted like Archangel, I want Gambit, I want all those guys, and so when I go to these conventions, there's tons of minifigures of custom ones made. That's where you go get them.
Ah, so, okay.
I have an
so
almost.
You bought like bootleg fucking Lego figures.
Damn right, and because they're just as good as the real ones because they're made out of the same type of plastic, and they're essentially the same thing. They're slightly different in size, so they.
I see what you're saying. I looked it up, and there's like Magneto and fucking Wolverine is pretty much it.
Yep, and so, but I wanted like a full X-Men series or collection, and even then, like these guys who make them, they only have so much time in the day. They can only make so many, and so they mostly fill it with the popular ones. So eventually, I'd find the more obscure characters, like get a bunch of X-Force characters. Yeah, and then okay, so you have the minifigures. They're also the big muscular minifigure guys. Yeah. So like there'd be some of those. Like the first one I got was Venom. Like at the time,
yeah, they got a bunch of those for like fucking like Thor and whatnot. Like all the new Avengers, I think right now.
Yeah, like you can get like a Spider-Man play set with Venom, but the Venom is like a minifigure Venom. And I'm like,
no, they have ones where you literally it's like a set of Legos that you put together and it becomes the figure of that character.
Yeah, well, and
so it's like a giant figure essentially is what you're buying.
Yeah, well, because you're putting them together to make them, and that's fine, but that's a little too big.
Oh, and now they have a Cyclops and a Storm, but you got to spend like $140 on a Lego kit to get those two figures.
Exactly, and it's like, well, I could just buy individual Lego pieces and make my own little set if I wanted to. Like the characters. Like I enjoy the character-driven stories, and so I want the characters more than anything else. But they're like next to impossible to get, and they never sell them by themselves. You always have to get them with a set. So yeah, I have a whole box full, but I stopped collecting them a while ago because afterwards I was then introduced to like Gundam, and I started making those instead. And the only reason I slowed down on Gundams is because. Like Gundam's relatively cheap. You spend $20, you can make a little figure. It's pretty good. Articulation's great.
Oh,
and then Transformers started because they came out with Beast Wars characters and went, fuck. So I stopped my Gundam and stopped the Legos, and now I'm just waiting on Transformers. But because of the coronavirus, shipment and all that stuff has been delayed. So for an entire month, we're a month and a half now. We haven't gotten anything up here in Canada. Like, there's maybe a select stores that might get one or two figures, but you guys in the States have gotten them, and they've come up with like 5 new Transformer toys, which you guys have gotten, and we haven't gotten yet here in Canada. And it's fucking pissing me off.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want the shit. I can't get the shit. I mean, what I should have done is order them online, but online stores are all sold out as well. So I'm like, because all the other Canadians are doing it that way.
Yeah, that is the one nice thing about the internet is you can get stuff that may not be available in your country that way.
Yeah. Well, it also doesn't help that there's a bit of a plastics shortage right now. So a lot of the toys...
really? I did not know that. That was not something I was aware of. That explains a lot of the Lego prices, though. Jesus.
Well, sort of. Like, okay, there is no plastic shortage, but a lot of people that provide the plastics come from the oil fields or the oil refineries, because plastic is a byproduct of oil.
Yeah.
So that's how we get like our grocery bags. But here in my neck of the woods here in Canada, they're going environmental. So like you can't in some grocery stores you can't get plastic bags anymore. They only give you paper. Or they suggest you bring in your own bags, which is fucking...
so you're starting to go the way of California, where it's basically like you get charged like 10 cents a bag if you want a bag, and you're supposed to bring in your own bag. They don't want you to use the disposable ones anymore.
Absolutely. Now, when I used to work at Safeway, like like about a decade ago, really. They did the same thing back then, you know, charging 10 cents a bag and trying to get people to do it. And then it only lasted for about a month or so, and then they went back to using plastic bags, and they stopped bringing that up. So like we're like right now we're doing the same thing, and I'm like it's only going to be here for a little while. They're going to go back because it's fucking stupid. It's only an inconvenience. On top of all that, places like Safeway are doing the whole paper bag only thing.
Yeah.
But I can go to Walmart. They don't give a fuck. They'll give
you know what's fucking weird? Like our Safeway was doing that for the longest time, and now suddenly they have plastic bags that you got to spend 10 cents a bag to get.
Yeah.
Again, so like they went from having plastic bags to having plastic bags again. Like they went through all the things for like, and now it just costs money to the customer.
Well, and that's 10 cents that goes straight to them. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. The only reason they're charging 10 cents is so that's money, because they don't have to charge anything. They don't have to. But they do it. They say it's an incentive to get you to bring your own bags, but really it's their way of paying for themselves.
Yeah, well, but you were paying for the bags anyway through the fucking prices of the goods you were purchasing.
Exactly.
So it's not like it makes a difference. It's just dumb to put it up front in a charge like that.
Well, that's their excuse to charging you more money, and then you agree to it.
You know what?
Like,
it's probably because you're paying them more now than you were before.
Well, the thing is that like in my province, this is oil country. All right, we have the oil sands. Oil is like we have tons of fucking oil, and you guys down there in the States used to be our biggest customer, and then Trudeau comes in there, he cancels the Keystone XL pipeline, and like oil would have been a lot cheaper from us than you currently get from Saudi Arabia, and that's blood oil. And then you've got fucking Biden who's like, oh yeah, no Keystone XL, we're canceling that. Well, how are we supposed to be self-sufficient? We could be self-sufficient and not rely on Saudi Arabia. But no, we can't have that. You need to understand.
Well, you can't not pump money into the fucking Saudi Arabian princes. That's not allowed.
Exactly. And it's not like it's
Those guys have a lot more control over things than a lot of people realize.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of us, we freak out over China, and fair enough. I mean, there's reasons to freak out over China, but you're right. Saudi Arabia is one of those things that we've just sort of forgotten about, and we probably shouldn't. And they're like the richest people in the world.
Yes, they're very dangerous, very powerful people that you do not want to fuck with. Exactly. That we need to break away from and stop allowing, because they're only rich because our countries have all made them rich.
Yep.
I
mean, it's just, in a lot of ways the same thing with China, because we moved a lot of our manufacturing over there too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is with China is that, well, they're a bunch of fucking liars.
The problem with China is they don't have the resources to back up the money they claim to have.
Well,
that's
okay,
a real big problem there.
A lot of things that brought them to fortune was when we sent them all the manufacturing jobs, like in the hopes that they would embrace capitalism, because look at how much. But instead, it's a communist, or they're just communists with a lot of money now.
Yeah, and trying to take over all the other countries.
Exactly, and so that they don't really see it that way. But we know, like. We pretty much, because all the companies and corporations have to pay taxes, and so we know how much big corporations make when they send off all their manufacturing jobs. We know essentially what America is giving China. It's not that hard, or like America, Canada, and all that. I mean, we know how much they're making off of us, but they have so much more money because they're paying for all this stuff to get built, and they're buying up all these houses and places. They're spending all this money.
That there's nothing to back up. Yeah, it's just paper.
Exactly. And so, and we've already had whistleblowers coming from China to America and essentially saying, yeah, they don't have this money. They're just going into the computers and putting in zeros. They're not that rich.
Well, and then that makes what the Democrats, at least in the U.S. right now, are trying to figure out. They're trying to force through like a couple of $1 trillion in loans again. They want to get like far more than has ever been done in one term, like by an astronomical amount. They want to just make money from China. Like basically, they just want to print money. Is the problem?
Yeah,
and it's like that's the kind of shit that causes like a Great Depression. Like the false fucking profits and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's really concerning, and a lot of people are not paying attention to. And also, we've had 2 years of COVID where so many businesses shut down and just did not produce anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a real big problem. Like that's going to hit the market sooner or later. That's going to have a real serious effect. Like I don't think people have any idea like how bad that's going to be when it comes.
It's probably going to be pretty bad. And you're right. I don't think people are paying attention. But to be fair, I think,
learn how to grow your food, because your vegetables in your yard may be the thing that fucking sustains you, folks.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I wish we've been growing vegetables this summer, but just couldn't get around to it. And so here's hoping we get through okay. We're already talking up. So
yeah, it's definitely a good idea, and it doesn't take a lot of room to grow a big amount of vegetables, man. Like you get the right plants and the right kind of sunlight, you can really get a lot of fucking good stuff out of there. Mm-hmm. So it's worth learning. And let me tell you, man, we did BLTs with some tomatoes from the fucking garden yesterday, and they were fucking amazing. I mean, the tomatoes were just so much better than you get in the store. Like they tasted like an entirely different kind of plant.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said about like homegrown fresh vegetables.
Well, it's like tomatoes are fruit, right? Like they're technically berries.
Yep.
The tomatoes you grow at home, they taste sweet like fruits, like candy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It's so much better than the stuff in the stores. It's like, oh yeah, you could bake this into a pie with some sugar, and it would actually be like a pie, like a dessert. You wouldn't even really think about it as like weird. Yeah, build a greenhouse and you'll never have to worry. And you can build a greenhouse out of just shit you find on Craigslist for free. Somebody's giving away a bunch of windows or some old fucking wood. It's not that hard to put together.
Well, it's a little hard to get the wood now, because right now, I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but wood prices are through the roof here in Canada.
Oh, I'm saying you go onto Craigslist and look for stuff that people are throwing away. That they're like, you can have it for free if you come pick it up.
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying.
You can get a lot of free scrap wood and windows and all sorts of building materials that way.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. But, I agree with you. What I'm saying is that because the price of lumber is through the roof, all that stuff is already gone.
Oh, there's nobody putting wood out for free anymore. I haven't done any kind of projects in a while.
Well, if they are, it's probably gone by now. Because
well, you never know. It's worth taking a look. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Before you go buy it at like the fucking Home Depot or whatever, see if somebody's just giving it away. Like you can also find a ton of furniture on Craigslist, like just for free, like old office furniture, like couches, chairs, desks.
Yeah. Well, because people are moving or they need to get rid of that stuff. Those
are like things where it's like a fucking company is just liquidating a bunch of old desks, and they'll just give them to you. Yeah.
Well, like my mom, she had to build like a big bird cage. She has a bunch of birds right now, and she just wanted to do it make it out of cheap material. So she got like chicken wire and some really cheap wood, like some long cheap wood that she just easily cut like with the saw and all that. But I remember it wasn't that long ago when we had to buy that wood for some like making little stakes, so we know where to dig dirt and all that. It was $20, like $20 for a bundle of like, I think, was it 8? So that's a decent price. You know how much it was this time? It was fucking $75.
Oh wow!
We paid $20 like a previous year, and then it shot up, and it's like that throughout the board. There's no wood that you can get that isn't overpriced. It's all but that bad. Yeah, so anyone who has to fix up a house, or is building a house, or is doing some other little projects around the place. Yeah, no, it's fucking huge. It is horrendously overpriced right now. Hey, it's gaming.
Hey,
Son
what's
of a
up, man?
dare you not respond to my DMs.
Oh,
Who
wow, I
didn't respond
saw
to your DMs? Oh,
oh,
Smosh?
me. Yeah, me.
Samaj.
Yeah, I know. He wanted me to do something. Sorry about that.
You motherfucker. How dare. These two assholes are not more important than whatever the fuck I'm telling you.
Well, what happened was that we messaged me, and then I ended up making supper. I ate, and then I was gonna like respond and go to bed. And I thought they were anyway.
Anyways, how's everybody doing?
Yay! The world's terrible. Everything's awful. But, there's drugs.
Let's impeach Joe Biden because the fucking country we don't give a fuck about is getting destroyed by people that they don't give a fuck about either. So that's impeachable. Yay!
Biden isn't going anywhere. He's going to stay there for his 4 years, whether you like it or not.
These fucking idiotic, fucking retarded hypocrites are like, let's impeach him, let's impeach. Like, I even posted a fucking message to that piece of shit black moron, Terrence Williams, whatever the fuck that idiot's name is, going like, we need to impeach him. Look what happened to Afghanistan, this and that. I'm like, that piece of shit doesn't give a fuck about Afghanistan. Get the fuck out of here. He's just became what he fucking hated the most. He became a fucking Democrat. He wants to fucking do everything the fucking Democrats are doing. He's just as big a piece of shit as the fucking Democrats. GG fucking William, you dumb piece of shit.
He's so fucking out of it right now. He probably thinks he ran as a Republican. If you ask him, he probably can't tell the difference at this point.
What a fucking moron.
Oh, and all the Democrats with buyer's remorse.
Did you see that video of him? Did you see that video of him, like, he gave a speech, and then he tried to walk off, but he got lost in the bush?
No.
He got lost.
That's fucked up.
You mean in the Oval Office? Like outside the Oval Office?
Yeah, outside the Oval Office. He walks into a and gets lost.
The fucking Secret Service guy told him where to go. He pointed at him, and fucking old senile fucking man just keeps walking. And the security, the guy is like kind of giggling, going like, "Oh my god, this fucking senile retarded moron is walking away." And he did like a circle, and he was like looking around where the fuck he at. Like, it's so fucking pitiful.
I'm pulling up the clip to watch now.
Like,
you guys made it sound so good.
Like, okay, I always bitch about Trudeau because he's very embarrassing. But, like, Biden's embarrassing in a different way. He's old man embarrassing. Well, Trudeau's just a clown embarrassing. Like, our countries are run by
the Secret Service guy points very obviously.
No shit.
Joe Biden just keeps walking. The
shit.
Secret Service security guy behind him just starts looking around like, is this really happening? What do I do?
He probably missed his injections of child blood, and so he's not quite working right.
He just took this giant lap around to follow the other Secret Service guy for no reason.
Yeah. He's so fucking senile, and it's so, oh my god, it's like I can't believe he's the one in power of the fucking greatest country in this world.
It's embarrassing, but at the same time, it's hilarious. It's some of the funniest shit ever. I don't know. They need to just give up. No matter what they do, his public image is just awful. Just awful.
But Samaj, he's the most popular president in the whole history of our country.
I know, he received the greatest amount of votes ever. I hear you. Did you hear that, like, what was this? A new poll came out where they're trying to say, like, did Biden legitimately won? And Democrats are starting to flip on him.
No, I haven't seen that. I don't trust polls.
Oh, for sure.
If I can't sit on it, I won't trust it.
Well, the thing is with polls is that a lot of them are very manipulated, for sure. Even with your manipulation, it's still coming out like yeah, we're losing faith in Joe Biden. Like, this gotta tell you something.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong, they'll get to the point where they just straight up lie. But
sooner or later. Probably sooner rather than later. Yeah, it is a little terrifying that Joe Biden's that bad because, like, he has the fucking football.
Exactly. Like, I'm not surprised.
Like, he can launch nuclear weapons without anybody else being involved. I like how everybody's just like thinking about that for a minute. It's like, oh yeah, he can launch nukes. Shit.
Like, the sad thing is, even if like I know they're doing the recount right now over the last election, and there's definitely shady shit going on, and it's undeniable at this point. That's why it was like 30 other states have decided or are considering doing a recount of the election. And even if they come out with like enough proof to say, yeah, clearly he's not president of the United States, this has clearly been a sham, the Democrats are just going to sue and delay.
The only way they could get him removed from office at this point is through an impeachment, and Congress they don't have the numbers on the Republican side. So unless enough Republicans unless enough seats go Republican in the House and the Senate, that they're in like overwhelming control, which I don't think is very likely, because I doubt this information is going to come out in public enough that there would be enough votes to beat whatever sort of like, cheating they do on the next set of elections.
I mean, next elections, they're always the House always changes. So,
but they already ballot harvested their way into the White House. They're going to ballot harvest their way into controlling both sides of Congress. I don't think there's going to be Republican control on either side after this set of elections, because they're just going to cheat. They worked the first time. Why would they stop? I don't think we're going to have real elections again anytime soon, if ever. Personally, that's just my thing. Like, it'd be nice, but it's not going to fucking matter.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the fucking top recommended videos after that Joe Biden video ended was a fucking Paralympics video.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that's kind of fucked up, YouTube.
Relatable.
It's like, damn, YouTube's a little harsh.
Can be.
Oh man. Yeah, if we're lucky and enough Republicans get into office to control both the House and the Senate, and there's enough of a public outcry, potentially they might try to impeach Joe.
I doubt it.
That's the closest they could possibly get. And then even if Joe Biden is out, I think it's Nancy Pelosi, right?
No.
Like, they wouldn't be able to put Trump in office, even if he won the elections. It's just there's no way to do that with our laws.
I mean, after Grandpa Senile, it would be Kamala.
So, hold on a second.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they would have to remove him from office, and then she would get in office, and they didn't impeach her afterwards.
So, what's...
Yeah.
Who's Joe Biden? What's his number in the presidential... like how many presidents you've had? Like, is he like the 47th or?
I don't fucking know.
Well, the reason why I ask,
I think he's 48.
See, the reason why I ask is that if he gets impeached,
49.
If he gets impeached and someone else gets in there, like let's say Kamala Harris, would she be like the next president? Or is his?
Yes, she would be the next president in this selection of presidents. Yes. Even if they then immediately impeached her afterwards, she would still be like number 49 if he was 48.
So in other words, he's still listed as a president.
Oh, he's 46, so she would be 47. He would be 46. She would be 47.
Oh, okay. All right. So
and then if they remove her, Nancy Pelosi would be 48.
See, I remember that creepy old crypt keeper black bitch saying, "Impeach 45, impeach 45." Stupid bitch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump actually didn't violate any laws at all. There was no reason for an impeachment. But...
Yeah, well, people are fucking retarded.
Well, I mean, if there's enough corruption in the government, I mean, they'll try to pass it, even though it's not legal in any way.
Yeah, well, I mean, they basically just railroaded Joe into the White House. They refused to allow any evidence to be heard in any of the court cases. which is why none of them went in Trump's favor.
Yeah, the Supreme Court pretty much fucking stabbed them in the back too.
Yep.
And their excuse? Oh, we didn't want to stir trouble with the people.
Yeah, that's always the thing that pisses me off. It's like the people are clearly the ones calling out and asking for you to like step in and say, hey, you violated your own election laws, you need to recount and go through and all this kind of stuff. But no. Fuck the Constitution, fuck the law. They know better than us.
Exactly. Well, and laws can be a bit confusing because there's a lot of them, and some are old, and you don't know which one's on the books and which one isn't. I did recently find something out here in Canada. Apparently, in 2017, a law was passed where apparently no employee or employer can force you to undergo testing or have any kind of a medical vaccine or anything like that. And should they attempt that, there's a potential $1 million worth of fines that could be implemented, or at least 5 years in jail. So if anyone says you have to get a vaccine or you have to get tested before you can in Canada.
Yeah.
So because right now in the government they're saying, oh yes, we're gonna make it so that all public workers, like all bus all like plane all pilots and bus drivers and all that stuff, they all have to get vaccinated. It's mandatory. You have to, otherwise you will be fired or move somewhere else. And so they all that has been going on. That's what people are protesting right now in Montreal, because like the workers.
And that's so fucked up because I'm sure, given the number of people involved, there are probably people who literally cannot be for medical reasons who might lose their job over this bullshit.
Medical or religious reasons. Here in Canada, we have actually a very strict religious laws, because it's like, if your religion says you can't do it, the government can't force you. But the government's going ahead with all this nonsense, and like I said, there was this.
That's what I'll get an exemption for if it comes down to it where I work. I'll be like, I'm Christian. Whatever fucking sect doesn't allow me to get fucking injected with your shit.
Yeah, well, like I said, in Canada, it's illegal for the government to try, even though right now the government is trying to do that. And it's like, so this tweet comes out from this place called True North. It's one of those independent news things here. And it turns out that no, it's on the books as of 2017. It's illegal. You can't do that. That's like $1 million worth of fine or 5 years in jail. So why is the government pushing something that it clearly cannot do? And I would imagine that there's something fairly similar in America. It's just someone has to dig through it, because right now, like, the media should be going through these laws and trying to find this information and bringing it up, letting the people know. Like, that's the thing that really pisses me off, because the news outlets are the ones that should be asking the politicians the tough questions. Like, well, isn't this illegal? Because on the books it says you can't do that. But our news medias out there are not asking any of these tough questions. They're not asking anything. And I know
because
why.
They're getting paid.
Well, in Canada, yeah, they're getting paid to that. They're taking like millions of dollars in bailout money, because otherwise the old legacy media would be dead right now, because no one watches them. And it's the same thing like in America with CNN and all that. But like CNN's a little more trickier, because I don't know where they get their funding. People have been assuming it's like foreign interference. Same thing with the New York Times. And part of the problem with the New York Times is they deleted like hundreds of articles that they once did, because it turns out that they were funded by the Chinese government. So I'm like, oh, that's why you're deleting all this stuff. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need laws regarding like where funding for our news sources can come from.
Well, the thing is with that,
I don't think that violates freedom of the press or freedom of speech to say like you cannot be operating under the foreign fucking press. Well, under the influence of a foreign government and claiming to be an American news station.
See, their get out of jail for that one is that they will get fundings from American companies, but they'll be companies that you've never heard of. and that's because they're shell companies of another company that's owned by a different company.
Yeah, it's owned by China. Yeah,
that's owned by a foreign agent. Yeah, so that's their get out of jail free card. It's like, oh, we're clearly paid for by America.
Mean, maybe we just need to pull them out on the street and fucking hang them off the nearest lamppost.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
at a certain point, it's going to come down to that. If there's no other option, like you can't do anything through the legal channels to protect yourself and your country from fucking foreign influence, and sooner or later, you just have to do whatever you got to do.
Well, I think what I think should probably happen instead is that access to independent sources should be allowed access to ask the government any questions. Like right now, like in Canada, I know in America it's probably the same thing, that no one watches legacy media, but they're the only ones allowed to ask questions of the government. We have independent news media here in Canada, but none of them are allowed to ask any questions. Now, that was surprising the other day when one of them did ask a question, but that's only because he got to the mic before everyone else. So I was like, oh,
guy.
Yeah, that's because he got there early. He was there like an hour before all the other journalists got there, so he's in the front seat, and he's right in front of the microphone, and as soon as they open up the questions, he gets right up and he's there.
So there was no way they could pretend that he wasn't the guy that gets to ask the first question.
Exactly.
They couldn't possibly, in front of all these cameras, just be like, shut the fuck up, you're not important enough to be here.
Exactly. They couldn't stop him. He got there early. He got to ask the first question. And that's because he literally worked harder.
That'll never work again. They will never allow that again. The next guy that tries to do that from the independent media, they'll just go out and move the microphone as far away from him as the room allows.
Well, and also, like, the other thing we just found out today about funding, because apparently here in Canada, Justin Trudeau just called another election, and it's going to be happening in September, I believe. So we have another election coming up. Yeah,
Justin Trudeau can just decide there's going to be an election?
He can dissolve. Yeah, the Prime Minister can dissolve Parliament and have an election get formed. And I think
fucking crazy. That's way too much power for the Prime Minister.
I think so too. I think it's absolutely insane. But yeah, he was able. I think in America you have the president has ways of doing that too. It's probably
the president can at no point just nullify Congress.
Oh, never mind. Then
that's not in his power.
Then that's just another thing you guys are better at than us.
The president is just a fucking puppet. He can't do shit. Really.
There are certain things the president can do that would supersede Congress. He can do military actions for I think 30 days before it has to either be approved or disapproved by Congress, and then it either keeps going or it doesn't, based on Congress's vote. So essentially the president is in emergency situations, he can run everything, including the military, to keep everyone safe for a certain period of time before Congress has to have a say in it. But he can bypass them for a certain period during certain kinds of emergencies. It's very convoluted.
Well, that's just politics in general. Half of it is just giving speeches and all that, and then the other half is the head games that they do.
Yeah. Well, now our president has executive orders which kind of bypass Congress, and we're already seeing just how much of a bad idea that is.
We'll see.
So that's that does bypass Congress in our way. He can't dissolve Congress, but he can bypass them.
Well, didn't he sign didn't he use executive powers on the first day he was president? He signed off a whack of different. He had a whole stack.
Yeah, so every time the party changes, Democrats and Republicans, there's a few dozen executive orders that always get done to just switch back and forth between political parties. So there's
really.
No, there is. There's abortion funding gets changed around, and there's a bunch of weird shit that gets changed because it's Republicans or because it's Democrats. It's real bizarre. And they're all things that should be legislated by Congress, and just so that we don't have to keep going back and forth. Oh, good luck with the sleep, Mr. Mad Metal Man. Right on into sweet nightmares to all. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. Our government is kind of a fucking mess. Yay. Everything's gone wrong. Actually, it is about time for us to call it a night. We've reached that time of the evening when we normally call it a time.
Where the hell is Daytron?
He's been here. He's just been very quiet. I don't know what's going on. Oh, maybe he's muted. I don't hear him. Oh, now I hear him. Okay.
I was kind of distracted at the moment.
He's masturbating.
Jingling keys again. Playing with keys. Oh, there's somebody put a laser in the wall and he's playing with a laser.
Oh, there you go. Just make sure the laser doesn't stay on your head for very long. Oh, I saw this badass video where these people caught a spider in a jar, and every time their camera focused on the spider, it would like jump out of the way, and they couldn't figure out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked really fucking spooky, but like it was obviously the infrared from the fucking camera, like the spider could see.
Uh-huh.
So the spider was like, "Hey, stop shining this fucking light at me, asshole."
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that animals can see things that we don't, like infrared or radiation and a bunch of other weird stuff that we can't.
I thought I read somewhere that geese can actually see ultraviolet light.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals that can see a bunch of weird stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Indeed.
I mean, look what the predator can do. Good night, everybody.
Oh, no.
Good point.
If only I hadn't discounted the predator. Well, he can't kill Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's one thing the predator can't successfully do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Naki probably could, because he's like fucking all old and stuff. I mean, he still has an amazing body though. When he starts working out again, like I'll never have the body that he has, even at his age now.
Yeah, dude, that dude's fucking still looking pretty studly. Probably getting injections of like child blood.
Whatever.
That's a thing that they do now. The rich people, they get like $8,000 injections of blood from children.
That sounds very cheap.
For
child blood.
Well, they'll take the blood of a bunch of children and they'll spin out all the stuff they don't want, and just all the stuff they want, they inject into people now for $8,000 a shot.
It sounds very, very cheap.
It's the new anti-aging treatment is literally like vampirism. Like fucking, the rich people are literally taking blood from children now, and people are like,
whatever. I'm sure the kids are getting paid. Or killed, whatever.
Or killed, whatever. There's a lot of kids on the street that nobody will miss. Bill Gates needs an extra 10 years.
I mean, he's gonna need several children because he looks fucking crippled.
Man. Is there like a rule that like the super rich tech people just have to be creepy as fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Because I swear to Christ, like none of them are like, like you see in the movies, they got like a guy that actually looks like a regular kind of like dude, like a California surfer kind of guy. But in like real life, they look like fucking robots, like always. Oh, maybe that's why robots look like robots. All the nerds are like, we need to bring our people to fucking popularity. We need more people like us. Then we'll fit in.
Robots look like robots. Yeah.
Oh, we lost Daytwa.
No, he was so important to the stream.
Oh, he's only come and gone like 30 other times. It's not like he's not going to come back.
Like burpees.
We'll probably call it a night when he comes back, if he comes back. or in like 5 minutes, whichever comes first.
Gee, I'm sure he already came more than that.
Huh?
Nothing.
Are you trying to make sex jokes, gaming? Is
No,
that what you're trying to do?
No, because then they'll just go right over you.
I'm not a bottom.
That wasn't trying to imply that you were.
I'm so fucking tired.
End that goddamn show!
I will.
So why do you...
I was going to get Dateswa to do the bye-bye thing, but he wasn't doing the bye-bye thing.
So why do you have the stream so late? Well, why do you not do it at an earlier
I don't
time?
know. I'd be fine to do it at other times, too. I don't know why. It's so
You're
late.
the one who streams it!
Oh, no. Dateswa's the one who's like, this is like the time he wants to do. I would stream anytime, really. As long as I know, like, ahead of time, I'm good.
You just need to have someone else with you. Is that, can you not run a stream by yourself?
I could not possibly do a stream by myself. It would get real boring real fast. I'm not that interesting.
You know what? Fair enough.
I know my limits.
Seth Green laugh. Wait, Green or Rogan? Seth Rogen, right?
Oh, I'm like Seth Rogen. There you go. That's all I got. I'm like a cheap knockoff Seth Rogen. Like if you bought Seth Rogen from a Chinese factory, I'm what shows up, and you're very disappointed. But you're like, fuck. I guess I'll just try to make it work.
I mean, if only you would look as cute as him. I mean, he is somewhat cute of a guy.
Is he really? I've never thought of him as cute or not cute. I've never even really considered it.
I think he's adorable, but overall, his personality, he's a piece of shit. So gross.
Oh yeah, he's fucking obnoxious. I cannot imagine why anyone would want to.
I mean, he's just a piece of shit human being.
Spend time around him. Yeah, no.
But
that's like so much of Hollywood. I mean, honestly, there's so little decency in Hollywood. Like, I like the guy that played Superman because he's a gamer, but that's about it. I can think of offhand.
What, like the hairy guy?
No, the dude that played Superman, he also played The Witcher. Yeah, that dude's like a huge gamer, like super fucking big into like World of Warcraft and shit.
Yeah. Nice.
He used to date Gina Carano, but she's very much a traditionalist, and she did not like how much time he was spending playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
It's like I think World of Warcraft has probably ended more relationships than most video games.
I'm sure they probably even started them as well.
I know at least one dude that got married because of EverQuest. Yeah, like he met his wife in EverQuest, and now he moved from Northern California to Southern California, and they run like a rescue zoo. Fucking like whatever. He was just a fucking waiter. But hey, he's happy now. Good for him.
5 minutes are up. Fucking end it before I end you.
Oh yeah, okay. We're gonna call it a night. Thanks everybody.